Big 12 today here on Big 12 Radio, brought to you by Modelo, heard exclusively on TuneIn. You're watching us on Big 12 Studios. He is Ari Timken. I'm James Westling. Tamin Turner, our producer's back there somewhere. Adam's back there. Anthony Smith behind the scenes on the video side.
He's also back there somewhere.
Fanatic of Big 12 today on Big 12 Radio. A little bit of a different look for us today because we are posted up at the Big 12 Studios compound here at the T-Mobile Center up in Kansas City covering the men's basketball tournament. We are not on the floor today because they're busy at work swapping out the court. The ASB glass floor is out. The old school hardwood floor is in, and they are working on that live in real time as we sit here this morning.
Yeah, we are not on the floor today because there is no floor. Well, I mean, technically there is. It's just concrete. But my assumption is, in having walked in this morning and seeing that late last night they were picking it up, that basically the ASB glass floor team worked all night to take the floor out. The current status of the floor is concrete. I'm not sure if they had like the backup hardwood floor like on call here, or if it's got to be flown in or what. But they'll be playing a couple of semifinal games tonight on real hardwood.
Real hardwood.
Yeah.
Not that fake hardwood, the real hardwood.
Not that glass-like hardwood, the real stuff.
So,
and before we get started today, I just needed to say to you, won't you be my neighbor?
Is that...
I figured when you started the show, you'd walk in, you'd say, hi, friends, how are you? You'd take off your shoes, you'd put your slippers on, you'd put the sweater on because, and those, by the way, those Keds you're wearing basically are Mr. Rogers' shoes.
Converse All-Stars.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You look like Mr. Rogers, which is great because he's the best.
Mr. Rogers has made a massive comeback. Not sure if you're aware of that. And yesterday I was wearing my modeling pants. Today I'm wearing my calendar shoot cardigan. So back off me, bro. Okay.
You'll also notice on set, if you're watching us on Big 12 Studios, that we've got
these are nice.
The 2026 Women's Basketball Championship hats. We will also on Monday have the men's hats, depending on who wins. But congratulations to West Virginia for winning. And, of course, thanks to New Era for these awesome hats, which you can, of course, get. New Era provides the championship headwear for all Big 12 events.
I've never seen you more concerned or more demanding of a task, for me personally, as to what took place yesterday when you were very concerned about, did my package arrive at the hotel?
Yes.
Where are my hats? I need you to check at least 4 times before you depart the hotel to come back to the arena because I need my hats.
Look, I pretty much sent a search party out at about midnight last night.
Rescue.
Yeah, search and rescue for the hats.
Find my hats.
They have been located.
My favorite, though, was I went to all that trouble. The line was out the door. I stood there for nearly an hour to try to see if these hats had arrived. They had not.
Yeah.
And then I get to the arena, and he's like, oh, let me just pull up my app. Oh, they haven't been delivered yet. Funny me.
Yeah, you mentioned multiple times that you had to wait in line for the hats. Sorry.
All right, so Iowa State moves on. Arizona moves on. Kansas moves on. Houston got a little bit of a scare.
See, now why'd you say Kansas like that?
Because this is Allen Fieldhouse East. Hilton South, but I think it's more Allen Fieldhouse East. Kansas was not going to lose that game last night. It just wasn't going to happen. And I'm just a little bit jealous and bitter that Kansas gets to play in the semifinals every year. Meanwhile, Kansas State, my alma mater, reportedly has found their guy, Casey Alexander from Belmont, which we can touch on a little bit later on. But I think let's touch on the floor for a moment.
Yeah,
so, Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark, after consultation with the coaches of our 4 semifinals teams, I have decided that in order to provide our student-athletes with the greatest level of comfort on a huge stage this weekend, we will transition to a hardwood court for the remainder of the tournament. We look forward to a great semifinals and championship game. That statement came at 11:30 p.m. Central Time last night after all the quarterfinal games were in the books. Your thoughts on the floor transition?
Well, look, I mean, is the floor slippery? That seemed to be a common complaint. I would venture a guess that maybe it wasn't slippery. Maybe it's just a completely different surface that the players aren't used to playing on. And in that, it was found to be slippery or different in terms of the footing, right? The expectation of the footing, because that's all that is. Christian Anderson is probably at the center of this, and I think that's maybe what started a lot of this is, the injury that Anderson suffered that we could see, and you could tell he was grimacing a little bit based on his groin. I'm not sure of his status and if there's been any updates to that, but I think this conversation started with Texas Tech, and then good on the Big 12 for reacting. There's a lot of reaction right now from the national media that covers this.
Yep.
C.J. Moore from The Athletic, Jeff Goodman from the Field of 68, that basically say this is a bad idea. They should have never done it. And C.J. Moore said good on the league for transitioning. Look, I think I don't agree with that. This is a floor that's used full time in European stadiums. This is a floor that's been kind of slowly implemented. I don't think it was a bad idea. I think there were assurances that this would work, and it didn't. Good on the Big 12 for making the right choice here. And I think this is that's Brett Yormark in a nutshell. The dude is thoughtful, and he's making this wasn't a decision that was just made by him. He talked with athletic directors, he talked with coaches. Everybody agreed it would be a good idea. They would try it out. It's been the story of the tournament for all the people that were critical of us for blowing up the announcement like it was some big deal. It's been the story of the tournament and will continue to be. But the one thing about Yormark is the willingness to admit mistakes, to change, to transition, to pivot. And, he pivoted in this way. I think it was the right choice, given all of the noise around it. And so now we get a clean hardwood court. I wonder if they're going to have the same Louis Vuitton court from last year with the same patterns, how that works in terms of where the court is. But, I don't look at it as, it was a bad move. They should have never tried it. No, try things.
Yeah. Totally.
Again, I still think this is going to be there's kinks to work out, sure. And I guarantee it's one of those things based on if you're just not used to it. But I still think it's going to be standardized across the NBA and big-time college basketball for the next decade. I really do.
And the CEO of ASB Glass Floor, the company that put the glass floor in, he's on site here in KC. And he kind of pushed back and said that, the slippery narrative is not really a thing. They've done a ton of testing. But he did say that it does take about 10 minutes of actual competition on the floor to adjust to the different feel. Well, in college basketball, first of all, there are a lot of guys that aren't playing consecutive stretches where they're on the floor for more than 10 minutes because you've got a media timeout every 4, and there's usually rotations and substitutions, and it is different. That's the number one thing.
Right.
And players were slipping. Is that because it's slippery? Not necessarily, but it is a different surface, and I think the players, it was going to take them some time to adjust to it. Frankly, this is a baller move from Brett Yormark because, number one, everybody's talking about the Big 12. There has been a ton of coverage of this tournament, more than just the teams on the floor. So it's garnered a ton of national attention on this league. Number two, it shows that he is innovative, forward-thinking, always making moves. And then number three, he does this at 11:30 p.m., so all these guys that are here, there's more media credentialed up here in Kansas City than ever before in the last 14 years. All these guys that have been hammering on the Big 12 about players slipping and Christian Anderson going down and Lipsey sliding and Emmanuel Sharp in the Houston game, those guys get this news at 11:30 p.m. Central Time. So then they have to stay up and piece together their 2,000-word essay that they're going to publish on CBS or Field of 68 or whatever it is past midnight into the wee hours of this morning, and the Big 12 making this move. I love it.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. As I was going to sleep last night, after midnight,
and these guys
social
have been
media
here
was
all
just
day.
Yeah, right.
They're tired.
Yeah.
Okay. Here, bam, announcement. 11:30 p.m. We're not going to make this announcement at halftime or between the 6 and the 8:30. 11:30 p.m. guys, get to work.
Yeah, and it's interesting because this news comes the day which Front Office Sports reports that this is like a record viewership year for college basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Front Office Sports reporting, CBS reported the highest viewership, drawing an average of 1.42 million viewers on its 30 men's basketball broadcasts, up 10% from last season. The most watched regular season for the network in 7 years. The CBS Thanksgiving broadcast of Duke, Arkansas was the best performing regular season college basketball game in 30 years, averaging close to 7 million viewers. Fox told Front Office Sports that it recorded its most watched men's basketball season ever, surpassing 2022-2023. Games on Fox averaged 1.21 million viewers, up 40% year over year. ESPN cited similar trends. So all the networks that college basketball is on have had record years this year. We've talked a lot about the factors involved there with the stud freshmen, especially in this league. So in a league that has garnered, record-like numbers for its audiences on television for its games during the regular season, just more headlines to really dot the I here for the season for the Big 12.
And all of those other networks, and NBC doesn't release that data, but we assume that their viewership is up. ESPN's up 25% as well, and ESPN's top 10 most watched college basketball games this season, 4 of those 10 games featured Big 12 teams. And remember, they have Duke, North Carolina twice, which are always going to rank in the top 3 like they did this year because of that rivalry. So the Big 12 essentially, in my eyes, had 4 of the top 7 or 8 most watched games this season, according to ESPN. So that's fantastic news. All right, in terms of the games yesterday,
just one upset,
which was the 5 over the 4, which didn't feel like an upset.
Right. My thought watching the Kansas TCU game last night was if Kansas loses, that would be like an actual true upset here. Mm-hmm. But beyond that, you've got arguably the 4 best teams in this league, right, that are left. We talked yesterday about the 8 teams left, and it was clear that those are the best 8 because those are all tournament teams out of the Big 12 that were there last night. And of those 8, the 4 that were the best teams ended up with a win. I mean, you could argue whether Iowa State or Texas Tech is, but that's sort of the crux of this point is we knew who the 5 best teams were in this conference all year, and at different times they moved up and down the top 5 rankings. But I would say where we are right now, based on some of the injuries and stuff with Texas Tech, it's pretty obvious these are the 4 best teams in the Big 12 this season.
So who's been the most impressive team to this point?
Arizona.
Now,
you're going to make fun of me because this train is right on schedule, but we're not talking about Darren Peterson's minutes anymore. That's done. It's been done. I thought the way they're playing together now, we've been waiting all year to see Melvin Council and this sort of second unit that has played so well when Peterson hasn't been there, that seemed to be more passive, shy when he was out there, they're playing together. Mm-hmm. And I mean, good timing for that, right? Now, will it lead them to a national championship? Doubtful, but they're playing their best basketball together right now. And again, I mentioned this after the Arizona State game. Kansas loses to Arizona State. Everybody's talking about how bad of a loss it was. I thought the second half of that game, they just, Peterson's driving, he's kicking, he's distributing. I think his all-around game and his involvement in the ecosystem of Kansas's offense and defense have never been more cohesive. So, train's right on schedule.
And Bill Self deserves a tremendous amount of credit for what he's done with this team. But, yeah, there was a play early in the second half, and Kansas didn't even score on this possession. But Darren Peterson brought the ball up. He dribbled to the elbow, drew 2 defenders, had a sweet kick out to the right wing. That player, which I think was Council, then cross-court skipped to a wide-open shooter for a 3. They missed it. But, again, that possession,
yes,
that looks like poetry in motion. That looks like Kansas basketball. And it all started with Peterson as the catalyst because of all the attention that he draws.
And at the end of the day, one of the big question marks about this team coming into the year was, will they be carried too much by Darren Peterson? And so in some ways, this drama around him has been a blessing in disguise because it's allowed guys to really flourish with opportunities to lead. And when you look at last night's game, it's the perfect encapsulation of what Kansas can be this year, which is full team effort. Peterson shot 5 of 17. I mean, he hit 13 of 16 from the free throw line, so he did a great job of getting to the line. But Peterson closed the game out for Kansas. Mm-hmm. In closing time in a close game, they went to Peterson. And, look, it's a close game against the TCU team that's been so good at closing games out of late. But Kansas was the one to do this with Peterson. He had some big shots. He got to the foul line. That is kind of Kansas as good as it can possibly be in terms of everybody plays and gets involved for the first 38 minutes of the game, and then the last 2, it's on Darren Peterson to take over, and that's what he did.
And closers get to the foul line in the closing minutes. Peterson, Jaden Bradley at Arizona. I thought the most impressive team so far has been Iowa State. And I know they're playing a beat-up Texas Tech team in the quarterfinals. But to beat them by 22, bridging their last 2 games together, Iowa State has outscored their opponents by 71 points. That is the most ever in the first 2 games of any power conference tournament since Kentucky back in 1992.
Wow.
I mean, they are on a historic run 2 games in. Now, I know they played kind of a down-and-out Arizona State team. But to outscore Texas Tech 42-18 in the paint, as my wife likes to say, Iowa State out-talled them yesterday because they just dominated the interior with all their beef down low.
Way to give her credit.
Iowa State's for real. I have had my questions and maybe been a little bit hard on them throughout the course of the season because they've had these scoring droughts that really bother me. But after watching them in person, they look healthy. They are big. They are strong. And if Tamin Lipsey, who we're going to talk to here in less than a half hour on the program, if he shoots the ball like he did yesterday when he went 8 for 12 and finished with 20 points, that takes that team to a whole nother level.
Well, and, it's not too long ago that Tamin Lipsey was a freshman and defenders were sagging off of him in this tournament.
Which
basically
was the
saying,
weirdest thing ever to see.
Say, shoot. He's hit 7 threes now in the first 2 games of this tournament, including 4 of 7 from 3 in the game yesterday. That game was tied at 33 heading into halftime. Iowa State had a 3 then right before half. Bateman, I believe it was.
Yep.
And they were off and rolling. I mean 33-33, and Texas Tech scored 20 points in the second half, and Iowa State scored 39. So, I mean, look, when their offense plays like that, and Jefferson had 18 and 13 with 2 blocks. I mean, Momcilovic only went 1 of 6. He was basically a non-factor in the game. And then the guy you talk about, which is Plato, who's really emerged here as a big. He played 14 minutes at 11 points on 5 shots. Like that's a sustainable model for Iowa State to get consistent offense.
And he's their big Dominicus Plata, 7-footer.
You just like saying
player.
that.
I do. I love. That's like an all-name team. Dominicus Plata.
If you have another kid, name him Dominicus.
Yeah, rolls Dominicus Westlane. Gosh, that has a nice ring to it. He's a beast, and Joshua Jefferson is a beast. I thought Tamin had a great note. We're sitting there courtside, and he says, "Man, I did not realize
Lipsey or Turner?
Big Joshua Jefferson."
Yeah.
He said, "I did not realize how big Joshua Jefferson."
You're saying
is.
Tamin had a good point. Was it Tamin Turner or Tamin Lipsey?
Oh, it was Tamin Turner.
Got it. T-Chains.
Yeah. Tamin Lipsey knows how good Joshua Jefferson is.
Or tall.
Tamin Turner's like, hey, this guy's big. He's a tall man. He can really move. All right, let's take a time.
Dynamite drop in there. Apparently this Joshua Jefferson guy is actually tall. Who knew?
6'9", 250, handles like a guard. Had a sweet dunk yesterday as Iowa State takes down Texas Tech. Deep dive recaps of all the quarterfinal games coming up after this. The semifinals are set. They go at 6 and 8:30 p.m. Central Time on ESPN and here on Big 12 Radio. So deep dive of all the what are we on? Day 2? Yesterday was day 2. Today's day 3 of the Big 12 tournament.
First day was Tuesday. This is day
3.
Day 3.
It's day 3.
Thank you.
That's coming up next here on Big 12 Radio, powered by Modelo.
Check out the top plays from the Big 12 men's basketball starting 5.
I don't think Kansas, even off of a made, is going to come out and try to contest those shots. If Truitt wants to take them, Bill Self is more than willing to allow that.
The Dunga with the kick out and the 3 for Trey White.
Really got into the ball. Much better from KU.
Here's White. Shot fake, got 3, and that 2 will drop for Trey White. Good find. White filling it up. Gets his own miss and puts it back in. Here comes Kansas. White, step in 3. Oh, he snaps that twine, and Kansas with a 9. Get a touch in the paint, out for a three from White. Good reset by Trey White to get a good look for three.
2 possessions at 2-3 zone from the Sun Devils, 2 made threes from the Jayhawks.
Kansas with only 1 timeout remaining. White steps into a three, banks it home. And now there's that timeout utilized
Big 12 today here on Big 12 Radio, brought to you by Modelo. Modelo fan rule number 25. Tournament week is a lifestyle. It's not a viewing option. It's a lifestyle.
No, I mean, especially for semifinal night. You've got two fantastic games. The environments tonight for these two games are going to be fantastic. You can make a pretty good case that these are the four best teams. So pack it in. No, I mean, early planning, go grab some Modelos. You know, of course, grab your favorite hat from New Era, of course. Make sure you've got the right snacks and food tonight and pack it in.
Net rankings, Ken Palm, projected seeds in the NCAA tournament would all say that these are the four best teams in the Big 12 Conference. We started with Iowa State and Texas Tech yesterday. Iowa State wins it by 22, 75-53. They were down by as many as 12 early in the first half. Then they just went on this incredible run. The game was tied at 33, you said, before they really blew it open with a 3 right before the half. That carried over into the second half. Iowa State outscored Texas Tech 20-4 points in the paint in the second half. But Texas Tech, they're now 3-3 since JT Toppin went down with a torn ACL. And it felt like this team was running on fumes in the second half. Grant McCaslin went deep into his bench once Christian Anderson went down due to the whatever it was. He slipped, he fell, groin tweak. He appears to be okay. He's going to be fine for the NCAA tournament. But at that point, McCaslin kind of waved the white flag and said, I'm going to play some of these other guys. And Iowa State continued to pour it on. Here's what TJ Alselberger said about the state of Iowa State basketball.
I think we're at a point in the year where our guys are continuing to improve. And I think there's the things you can do in practice and on the court to improve. There's the things you can do in terms of what you take from film. There's the things you can improve upon mentally and your focus and where you place emphasis during the course of the game. And certainly you can see with our guys that they're continuing to take a step forward and another step forward. We played well today. Was it our best? I think our best is still in front of us. And I'm excited to just, to get back to work with our guys and continue to improve because we can see the growth that we're continuing to make at the right time of the year.
I mean, this is Iowa State at its best. A suffocating defense turns you over, gets into transition. They got 42 points in the paint. I think we've seen Iowa State at its height, and we've seen Iowa State at its lowest at times, and this is Iowa State at its best. And you talked about this yesterday. They were hurt last year heading into the tournament. They're fresh. They're good. They've got lots of depth. Like that's one of the things I think about with Iowa State and Arizona in that game tonight is we talked yesterday after games. You'll hear these interviews with Koa Pete and Braden Burries and Tamin Lipsey, and for Arizona, I mean, they just keep coming at you in waves. Like the depth that they have with guys that can score and play both ends of the floor, and I think Iowa State's the same. Just a lot of two-way players that are really good. Get after you.
And Iowa State is fighting for, they have something to play for here in Kansas City because they are right on that 2 or 3 seed cut line for the NCAA tournament. With their win over Texas Tech and the way that they won it, Joe Lunardi actually moved them up from a 3 seed to a 2 seed, which you don't want to be a 4 seed because of how historic the 1 seeds have been all year long and those teams at the top. So a 3-2 is probably splitting hairs, but for Iowa State to get a 2 seed would put them in their preferred region. They'd be playing close to home for those early round games. But he's got them right now as the number 8 overall team, which puts them as the last 2 seed with Illinois and Nebraska right on their heels as
Gonzaga,
the team that lost to Portland.
Yeah. Well, it was Portland State.
Portland State. My bad. It's on me.
Yeah, they're 6th in the net, 30-3 overall. Very impressive in the West Coast Conference. They went 7-2 in Quad 1. They did have that Quad 3 loss to Portland State, and they're 19-1 in Quads 3 and 4. Meanwhile, Kansas is 9-8 in Quad 1. So that's quite a considerable more amount. I mean, basically, Gonzaga's played 9 Quad 1 games. Kansas has 9 quad 1 wins. And, of course, unblemished 7-0 in quads 3 and 4. So Gonzaga's 19-1 in quads 3 and 4.
So they've played 2/3 of their games in quads 3 and 4. All right, game 2 yesterday. Arizona throttles UCF 81-59. They led like 34-8 in the first half. And then UCF battled back. They got it down to a dozen, had a chance with the ball to get it into single digits. They missed a 3, and then Arizona went down and scored, and the rest was history. But Arizona shot almost 50% from the floor. They owned a 38-28 points in the paint advantage. They generated 18 points off of UCF turnovers, and they held a gassed UCF team to 3 of 21 from three-point range. Here's Arizona coach Tommy Lloyd.
Yeah, well, thank goodness we got off to a good start, because there were stretches of that game I didn't think we played very well. But, you know, hey, the objective in these tournaments is to get to the next one, and, you know, that's mission accomplished today. And obviously we know tomorrow is going to be a tough battle with, you know, an Iowa State team playing in their backyard, but we look forward to it.
Iowa State team playing in their backyard. Tommy Lloyd, he was throwing a little bit of shade at the Arizona faithful because there weren't a lot of Arizona fans here up in Kansas City. He knows that this is basically a road game for Arizona, and he was a little spicy at the podium yesterday, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, do we have the audio where he called out the Arizona fans? No, okay. So, yeah, I mean, basically said, like, I guess all of the Arizona fans assumed that we were going to get San Diego, and maybe they're going to spend their money on going to the NCAA tournament in San Diego, which I guess is where they would play their first 2-round matchups as part of the 1 seed in the West region. You know, look, there's a lot of talk about should this tournament be held in Vegas. I don't know. Maybe Arizona can make a Final Four before they start demanding things from the Big 12.
Well said. Don't hate it. Braden Burries, by the way, he had 21 points, 3 for 7 from 3, had 4 steals. Tobe Awaka had a team-high 12 rebounds. Arizona had, I don't have the exact number in front of me, but I did the math, and basically they had an offensive rebound on almost half of their missed shots, which is just insane. They didn't shoot it great from the foul line, so maybe some of those offensive rebounds came on free throws, but when they were in the half court, they just pounded UCF on the glass.
Well, and you mentioned this, but UCF cut the Arizona lead to 12 twice, and the second time, it was late in the second half, and you're like, okay, they can make a game of this. And then Braden Burries had a steal and a dunk, then a 3. Sorry, then another 2, then a 3. I mean, he basically had a 9-0 mini run himself, almost a personal kill shot from Braden Burries that put that game to bed for good. Arizona has so much depth, and again, like, it's just a bunch of 2A players. Tobe Awaka had 12 rebounds. He was a monster. Yeah, they're real good. And again, one of the things about the whole Kansas City-Vegas thing that Arizona wants to make a thing, because Arizona used to love playing the Pac-12 tournament in Vegas. I get it. Just the way in which the city of Kansas City embraces the tournament. You walk outside T-Mobile Center, and everywhere there's Big 12, graphics and signage, and it's just, this city leans into it. You go to Vegas, and it's just another thing in Vegas.
Right. Like there are multiple streets around the arena that are completely blocked off. Like it's foot traffic only. There's a bunch of festivities for the entire family. They've got Papa Shop, like everything you can possibly imagine.
Yeah, there's a whole fan zone.
Mm-hmm.
And then that leads you to Kansas City Power and Light. It's a great setup. You just have a bunch of Arizona fans that want to make assumptions without even being here,
right? Without
even trying it. Well, I want to go to Kansas City. Okay.
All right, game 3 last night, Houston and BYU. This had a little bit of drama because BYU led by 7 at halftime. Houston was fighting to survive at the break, but I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, okay, where's Emmanuel Sharp? Where's Milos Uzan? Where is JoJo Tugler? Well, it turns out those guys were in foul trouble. All 3 of them had 2 fouls in the first half, so Houston was literally fighting to survive without 3 starters. But then they outscored BYU 36-25 in the second half. BYU turned it over 18 times. Houston turned those turnovers into 19 points. Kingston Flemings had a game-high 17. JoJo Tugler What a line. 12 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals, 2 blocks. He was, I thought, the biggest X factor in that game for Houston.
Yeah, so 2 takeaways, 3 games for A.J. Debonsa, 93 points. He broke Kevin Durant's record for total points scored in the Big 12 tournament. He had already broken Kevin Durant's single-game record with his 40-burger. So incredible performance from A.J. Debonsa. This game was awfully similar to the Houston BYU game in Provo.
Yeah, in fact, the final was the exact same score.
I mean, coming down to the wire, it's a close game, it's nip and tuck, and then the more physical Houston team, and this I think is like the calling card of Houston basketball. They get you into the deep water, and then they drown you. Like, oh, you think you're swimming with us, huh? Keep going. And then it's like suddenly you're gasping for air, and water fills your lungs, and you're done. And that's what happened to BYU. I mean, game's close, and then suddenly you look up, you're like, oh, Houston's up 9, the game's over.
And Kelvin Sampson, man, he is super pumped that he's done playing A.J. Debonsa. Here's what Coach Sampson said. High praise for the best player in America.
6 years in the NBA. So I sat on that front of that bench and watched everybody from Allen Iverson to Rip Hamilton to LeBron, Derrick Rose, Kevin Durant, Nowitzki, Jason Kidd, Vance, all those guys. Some of them just have the bucket gene. I don't think you can teach that. For us, we have to recruit it. For the NBA, they have to draft it. But he can shoot. There's a lot of shooters that can't score. And there's a lot of guys that can really score, but they can't shoot. If you watch the ball roll off his fingertips and his release at the free throw line, you can tell he's an elite shooter. And the first time I saw him he was 15 years old. I didn't pay much attention to him because I knew I was never going to coach him. But I figured I'd be coaching against him one day, eventually. I just didn't know it would be in the same conference. But, he's a little tougher than people want to give him credit for. He's a young kid, just like Kingston was turned 19 not that long ago. I'm assuming DeVance is probably around 19, maybe 20. These guys are young, but he's been in the spotlight his whole career. AAU basketball now is a lot like college basketball used to be. They play against each other. I watched Kingston play against Chris Sinak. I watched Darren Peterson, AJ, all those guys play against each other. So, but DeBasta's got the gene. He can really score. His length. He's going to get better as he goes.
Houston coach Kelvin Sampson on A.J. Debonsa, who finished with, 26 last night, got a lot of his points from the foul line. Houston moves on. All right, Game 4, Kansas and TCU. This was the 3-6 matchup. TCU actually led at halftime 34-31. KU really had to fight in this one. Kansas went to the foul line 37 times. They go 30 for 37 from the free throw line. Flory Badunga didn't miss a shot. 13 points, 10 rebounds. He had 3 blocks. He had a double-double for Kansas. And then Elmarco Jackson off the bench chipped in with 13. Your thoughts on KU's win?
Yeah, TCU is very good. I mean, this was going to be a tough game for Kansas. Obviously the very pro-Kansas crowd. Kansas did not shoot the ball particularly well, but the free throw line helped save them. There was a free throw discrepancy there, but I don't think it was unjustified. There were a lot of whistles in this game, a lot of fouls called, and Kansas was the aggressor. They were getting to the rim. They were not settling for three-point shots. I don't know what they finished from the three-point line. It was not very good.
KU went 4 for 17, 24% from 3.
They could not get him to fall from 3. It must have been the glass floor. But look, they've been kind of a low. They've been, I think they're 53rd in Ken Palm offense. It's been an issue. But they just did enough in this game to win. And again, Like, it's close, and it came down to the end, and Darren Peterson brought him home. I mean, they went ISO ball a little bit with Darren Peterson down the stretch, and he delivered, whether it was getting to the free throw line or he knocked down the dagger with, I think, a 3-point lead to make it a 2-possession game down the stretch.
Yeah, TCU is scrappy, and they are going to be a tough out in the NCAA tournament. I thought for them to hang with Xavier Edmonds in major foul trouble. You know, he didn't play the last 3 or 4 minutes of the first half. KU went on a little bit of a run, even though TCU still led by 3 at the break. They did a lot of that without him on the floor. David Punch had 24 points and 10 rebounds.
By the way, he was a beast. I mean, on the offensive glass, he was an absolute beast. He was a pest for Kansas to deal with.
Jaden Pierre had 11 for TCU. Layla Vicious off the bench had 14. But then for Kansas, balanced scoring with 4 players in double figures. That front line of Badunga and Bryson Tiller combined for 26 points and 18 rebounds. If you get that type of post-production and then you layer Council and Peterson and Trey White on top, I think that's how KU survives when they don't shoot the ball at a high level.
Did you see the moment when Jamie Dixon grabbed Darren Peterson?
Yes, I did, and I've seen it about 1,000 times slowed down in super slow motion on social media.
Think it'd be too harsh to arrest Jamie Dixon? Is that too harsh?
Put him behind bars.
Yeah.
Like, don't touch our guy.
I mean, that's a grab right there, Jamie.
You think that's a grab? Is that's a holding penalty?
I mean, yeah, I don't know what he was doing.
I think Jamie Dixon is very animated on the sidelines. He's always moving. And I think Jamie Dixon was about to collide with Darren Peterson if you watch it in real time, not the super slowed down motion. And I think he grabbed Peterson to avoid a collision.
Oh, if anything, he should be given a medal. Give him the Congressional Medal of Honor. He saved Darren Peterson.
Here's Bill Self giving his initial thoughts after KU took down TCU.
Well, it was a hard game. I don't think we played our best by any stretch, but we were pretty good early and then kind of let it get away from us. But TC's good, and they did some good things. The thing that we did best, obviously, was get fouled and shoot free throws. So that was great to see. We have to be better tomorrow night, but it was kind of one of those games, survive and advance games. So it's good it ended up the way it did.
Best thing we did was get fouled and get to the foul line, according to Bill Self. That's not a bad thing, because if you want your team to be the attacker, to be the more physical team, that's a sign of a physical team. They get to the free throw line a ton.
Well, and if you remember last year, that was a complete major issue for the team. And, you know, I mean, I think Darren Peterson helps to change that, especially with how he's played of late. I mean, when you look at Darren Peterson's game earlier this season where he's kind of just patrolling the perimeter, you know, he's much more of a driver now and a distributor. Melvin Council's a guy that likes to get to the rim and get downhill. Like, so they've got guys that want to get to the rim, and traditionally that means that lends itself to a physical team that gets to the free throw line. What's the stat that you have that no team has made the Final Four without at least getting to the semifinals of their conference tournament?
Correct. Yes. No team has won the whole thing.
Got it.
No team has won the whole thing without at least advancing to the semifinals of their conference tournament. So, in terms of national championship contenders, Arizona, Iowa State, Houston, Kansas.
Right on schedule.
There's your 4. How about Miami, Ohio? They got upset yesterday by the Fighting Frank Martins. UMass, the 8th seed in the MAC.
Wait. Breaking news. UMass is in the MAC.
UMass is in the MAC. Year 1.
When did that happen?
Year 1.
Got it.
Yeah, so their football team used to be an independent, and then they're like, hey, we should probably join a league. Mac said, come on over.
You fit right in with us here in Ohio and Michigan and Illinois.
Buffalo, UMass, takes down Miami, Ohio.
I don't think Buffalo's in the MAC, are they?
Yeah. Buffalo Bulls.
No, I mean, I know who they are. Yeah.
Yeah, they're in the MAC.
Okay.
Come on. Maction, dude.
All right. Yeah.
I'll out-maction you all day. Yeah, you get those fingers going. You punch those keys. Miami, Ohio, still considered to be in the field. Last 4 buys, according to Joe Lunardi. This has been a hot topic.
Buffalo's in the MAC.
Told you, bro. Come on, Bobby Hurley, MAC City.
Lance Leipold.
I bet I could name all dozen MAC schools right here on the spot. I'll do it.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
All right. Miami, Ohio, though. Should they be in?
Yes. You know who shouldn't be in? 17-16 Auburn. Like, I don't care how good your schedule is. At some point, you have to win games on your good schedule.
Auburn's considered first 4 out, and Oklahoma, with their win yesterday, they upset who they beat. Somebody big in the SEC tournament. They leapfrog Auburn. So I don't think Auburn's getting in.
Well, and I'm more upset about this Gonzaga getting a 3 seed with Kansas getting a 4 seed thing.
That's the headline.
I mean, what are we doing here? Does everybody get a trophy, Gonzaga? Is that what happens?
Apparently, yeah, Gonzaga's locked in.
Oh, wow, they're so good. 30-3 with 18 of their games, 19 of their games, and quads 3 and 4.
3 seed in the West, according to Joey Brackett.
And see, like, I hate that.
But he still has Texas Tech as a top 4 seed.
Interesting.
The last team, number 16, when it comes to those top 4 seeds. They're 3-3 post-Toppin.
And the Big 12 at the top is very good. It should get the benefit of the doubt for it. It feels like the Big 10 is getting more of the benefit of the doubt for being really good at the top than the Big 12 is.
Agreed. Yeah, that's well said. All right, coming up next, we sat down yesterday right after the game with Iowa State point guard Tamin Lipsey, born and raised in Ames, great kid, great story, struggled at the Big 12 tournament over the course of his career. You mentioned the first couple of years, teams are sagging off of him and really almost kind of embarrassing the kid here in Kansas City, daring him to shoot. Last year, he misses the or the Big 12 tournament. He's dealing with that wrist injury. Well, he has showed out in a big way. Had 20 points yesterday in Iowa State's win over Texas Tech. We'll talk with Tamin Lipsey from Iowa State after this timeout. This is Big 12 Today on Big 12 Radio. Watching us on Big 12 Studios, brought to you by Modelo.
Texas Tech can really shoot the 3, as Jay mentioned. Iowa State can really guard. Something's got to give here this afternoon. Trap in the corner. Watts gets out of it. Anderson from the wing for 3.
With 2 on the ball on the left side. I mean, he does a great job on the glass. A really good guard rebound. He had 9 rebounds against Iowa State at Hilton.
Donovan Atwell is open. Josiah Mosley in off the bench. He didn't get going until late January because of an ankle injury, but he's gotten going early here today. A freshman, a very good shooter out of Milwaukee on the floor right now for Iowa State. Nifty stuff there from Lipsey.
The only one with more in Big 12 history is Buddy Hield.
A turnover. Lipsey, left hand, lays it in. But it did appear to be his left leg that he is favoring right now. Lipsey, the scoop, it'll go.
Just got a screen from Momcilovic. He slipped out of it to the 3-point line.
Izzy and Plata both checking in for Iowa State. Mosley checking in for Texas Tech. Jefferson, a nice jump hook.
He does a great job of
Anderson, that's deflected. Atwell, a big 3 for Donovan Atwell.
One thing you know, Texas Tech is going to keep shooting.
They are 7 for 19 from 3 in this one, like he just did. He just makes winning plays. Jefferson, 2 more. Iowa State will get the winner of our next game between Arizona and UCF. TJ Otzelberger's team has won 2 games by 71 points, Jay, to open up the Big 12 tournament.
Big 12 today, Big 12 Radio on TuneIn and Big 12 Studios, and we're visiting right now with Tamin Lipsey of the Iowa State Cyclones. And I guess first off, congratulations. That's a big-time win. The game was 33-33. Then Bateman hits a three before half, and then you guys are off and racing. Like, what happened there? How did the game flip?
Yeah, obviously that's a big momentum swing to end the half with a three, get the crowd into it. Feel good going into halftime, a little momentum, and then from there it just seemed like we felt more freely about our offense, and shots were starting to fall in the second half, started to get stops and create turnovers.
Tamin, you had 20 points, 4 assists, not a single turnover. What was working for you offensively and defensively on both ends?
I think it was just how we were moving the ball as a team. I think all of my threes were pretty wide open threes, so that's credit to my teammates. One of them was a flare screen. One of them I was just sitting in the corner and the ball got moved to me. So it's just being ready to shoot. But when our team's moving the ball, we have a great offense. We play with pace, space, and movement. That's what we say, and we did a great job of that today.
Your coach just talked to the podium about trying to help you get confidence in terms of being a scorer. You had 4 threes today, you had 3 yesterday. Where is your confidence right now in terms of your shooting and scoring abilities?
Yeah, my confidence is through the roof right now, and that's exactly where you want it to be at this point in the season. It's March. All these games are win and go home, and I didn't shoot it great this year throughout the whole year, so to be feeling good and just keep hunting at this point of the year, it feels really good.
It feels kind of full circle, too, because we remember, I'm sure you remember, teams were sagging off of you. I mean, what was that, your freshman year?
Yeah.
Here at the tournament, right?
Yeah.
I mean, to think full circle, like, sag off me now, right? Like,
No, exactly.
7 threes in 2 games. Like, yeah, give me some room here.
No, exactly. I mean, I'll never forget that. And, it's as a basketball player, when you got guys guarding you in the paint, it's kind of diminishing. But just to put that work in throughout the years and to get where I am now, I know I put the work in.
Now, this was the rematch from a game that just happened not that long ago in Ames when Texas Tech beat you guys on your home floor, which not a lot of people do.
Yep.
How did it feel to kind of get back on track against these guys? Revenge is a dish best served cold, we always say on Big 12 Radio.
Like that.
And you got yours.
Exactly. I mean, like you said, the only team to go into Hilton and beat us, so there's a little extra motivation there. And the main thing we talked about as a team was win the rebounding battle. And I think we won by maybe 10 rebounds today. So they beat us doing that last time we played them, so that was our main focus. But just guarding the ball, they do a lot of pick and rolls at the top of the key and a lot of ghost actions. So we just focused on guarding the ball and making them uncomfortable.
Do you ever, like, you grew up in Ames, it's your 4th year now. Do you ever, like, have a moment to just sit back and smell the rose a little bit and be like, wow, this is pretty cool? Like, being a local kid and now playing for 4 years there, it feels like for me, it's been a blink of an eye. I'm sure it's been pretty quick for you, too.
No, it's gone quick, and I wish I had more years, but it's been a great experience trying to cherish the last of it in March, and hopefully we're playing into April. But yeah, I think senior night was a big one where I got to sit back and feel the emotions and have my family there and all of that. That was a good night for sure.
Like, there's got to be a balance between, like, the one game at a time mentality and because you want to keep playing, you want to get to a Final Four and win a national championship, but then also, like, the soaking it in part of it, because it's it is your final opportunity to do this. You've had many of them, and you playing meaningful minutes as a freshman for this team. So now to be in this position, it feels like, man, I hope you're really experiencing that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I mean, the 4 you're looking back at from my freshman, sophomore, junior year, and just how I've improved as a player, and throughout all those years, the teammates I've had, the relationships I've built, that's the most important thing. And at this point, you just try to win as many games as possible.
How has Otts changed in that time?
He doesn't change very much. He sticks to who he is, which is I think why our program has done so well, and why we continue to rise as a program. It's all credit to him and the other coaches for the standards that they set for us, and we got guys that come in and just dive into that.
Now, Tamin, what is it about playing here in Kansas City in this tournament that has led to so much success for Iowa State? I know they call this Hilton South, but you guys just always seem to finish in this tournament above your seed line every year.
It's a lot of credit to the fans for traveling down, and like you said, our fan base calls it Hilton South, and it's only about 3.5 hour drive. So we got a lot of fans that make the trip, and you know how fans can impact a game. They got a lot of impact, so it just makes us feel good about it. And then obviously how great our team is, and we're playing at our best basketball right now.
Yeah, and that was my next question: is are you guys playing your best basketball right now? I mean, you've obviously, you started off really good. You've had, you're 7th in the country. You played a lot of good basketball this year, right? Like, but do you feel like right now, like, Plata is getting minutes? It feels like your bench is in a situation that's, Bateman's really contributing. Do you feel like this is as good as you guys have played?
I think as individuals and as a group collectively, we all have so much confidence right now, and that's the most important thing. And to see that stretch of the year that we had at the end when we played, Kansas, Houston, Texas Tech, and Arizona, that was a tough stretch, obviously. So to be able to realize that and now bounce back, and I feel like we're, like you said, we're playing our best basketball.
Yeah, and teams, whether they talk about it or not, have a pretty good feel for where they're at going into the NCAA tournament. This time last year, you guys were beat up and kind of limping in health-wise and everything else. This year's, it's completely different. So can you feel that as a team, just that confidence that, like, we're ready to make a run?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, last year was myself. I had a groin problem at this tournament. I missed the BYU game, and then Keyshawn was struggling with some things, and Joshua. So we had a lot of guys that were not 100%. So to have our whole team feeling good, and that, like you said, that just gives us that much more confidence to go out there and perform.
Well, Tamin, appreciate your time. Good luck the rest of the way, man. It's been fun to watch your career, so keep it rolling, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Tamin Lipsey joining us here on Big 12 Studios and Big 12 Radio.
Badunga and punch, set to jump it up. Kip Kissinger tosses it in the air, and Trey White controls.
One of the things I like about this start is, like, what is Peterson at? Maybe one shot?
And finally, it's Edmonds.
Fran McCaffrey the last couple of years.
Council lob and a throwdown for Tiller.
Now, these are shots, the last couple, I don't like if I'm Bill Self.
Levicious, and TCU has the lead.
Remember, this guy lit it up in Allen Fieldhouse.
23-16, Elmarco Jackson gives to Council with Edmonds popping out. Council into the paint, and there's Badunga with the tip. Off the mark, here's Council. Council racing up ahead, White scored and one. Trey White to the line. Back the other way, Kansas the lead. Peterson, his jumper. And that wouldn't go for Pierre. He wanted a foul call. Peterson at the basket. And one. The rebound.
Here comes Melvin.
Council to White. And Kansas has the lead.
When they beat Florida and Wisconsin.
Peterson went behind the back. And is that going to count? Yep. Elmarco Jackson with a big game off the bench as he finishes with 13. Badunga tips it. That one fired at the basket. It rims out, and Kansas will move on.
Special thanks to Iowa State and guard Tamin Lipsey, who joined us here on Big 12 Today on Big 12 Radio and watching us on Big 12 Studios. That was after Iowa State's 22-point win over Texas Tech yesterday. The semifinals, they are set. We are going to have later on this hour, in hour number 2, Jaden Bradley, the Big 12 Player of the Year. We caught up with the Arizona guard earlier this week, and then we'll be talking with the pair of freshmen for the Wildcats, Koa Pete and Braden Burries, who we spoke to right after their win over UCF yesterday afternoon. And then in hour number 3, we've got Ryan Hammer, Trapezoid of Excellence, TM.
Trapezoids of Excellence over there.
Excited to talk to Ryan. Do you know Ryan?
You
guys bros?
Best friends.
Figured.
Yeah. Never. There hasn't been a day that goes by where we don't talk.
Knew it.
Yeah.
And then Shreas Lada from the Kansas City Star to talk about KU's win over TCU. He'll be joining us live in hour number 3.
He actually is a friend.
You guys are bros?
Yeah. I have updates on the court. I can't believe it's taken you this long to ask me for these updates.
27 seconds. 27 seconds gone by, and we have not received an update from the court. How's it look? You were out there.
So, update. The court stays here full time. So we were wondering, does it have to be flown in? Where is it being kept? So the Big 12 court from last year is kept here, which makes a ton of sense.
Okay, it's in the house.
It's in the house. So you just got to kind of roll it out on pallets. And it's kind of incredible how organized the chaos is as they basically put together each element of the floor. And there's, these screws that go in that connect them on the inside, and then they kind of wrap them around and then they clip together. It's really cool to watch. I think, so much of the reaction on social media from so many of and articles that have been written about this, a lot of ink's been spilled on the mistake of having the court. It's like, the lesson here is to never try anything. Never. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. Just always do what you've always done and never try anything new. That's apparently the takeaway from most of the writers that have been here.
I still believe this is the future.
Yes.
Like, they've been playing on these floors overseas for...
the NBA uses it in practice facilities. Kentucky has a practice facility that uses it. Don't get confused with unsafe playing conditions versus players are just not used to playing
versus there's an adjustment period that's going to take place.
But, again, credit to the league for pivoting. Look, it's one thing to be stubborn and stick to it, and it's like, well, this is what we did. As opposed to, no, we did it. There were positives of it. But overwhelmingly, the coaches from the semifinal games wanted to have a regular court back for this game. Again, you read like, oh, so many of these writers just, what a mistake. It was a mistake. At least they're doing it. And it's like, never try anything, guys. Never, in life, it's important. It's an important lesson to know. Never try anything.
Okay, so
just always do what you've always done.
Kentucky uses it for their practice facility. Big 12 teams play and practice on this same floor in Orlando where ASB is headquartered when they go out to play UCF. They're using it over in Europe. The NBA All-Star Game used it. Like, it's still progressing towards being the future. The Big 12 and this turn, like, part of me thinks, are these slips truly due to the playing surface? Like, are some of these guys maybe being, for lack of a better term, at least when it comes to some of the comments from teams that exited 2 days ago, being babies about this whole thing, right?
Yeah, you hear the most of the prevailing comments came from teams on the losing side. Now, with that being said, I think the consistent, the one thing you did hear from the women's tournament and now into the men's tournament is like the slippage piece. It's slippery. Is it actually slippery, or is it just a different playing surface that you have to adjust to?
Yeah.
If you want to play the game of like, would he have slipped on this floor or that floor or whatever, I just think like footing traction is paramount in the sport of basketball, right? It is a sport of lateral movement. So grip, traction. It's why, if you ever played basketball at a decently high level, you didn't wear your basketball shoes outside, right? Like, you just wear those inside on the floor. Like, you need to keep them clean at the bottom so that you've got good traction. So it's just different. And look, ASB says about the traction of the floor that it's actually a better traction than wood would be.
Right.
But I think that's inconsequential to this discussion simply from the standpoint of it's a different playing surface, and they're not used to it. And suddenly here at the end of the season, you're playing on a completely different surface.
Well, and let me say this. Tonight, we've got back-to-back games. There better not be a single slip, right?
Well,
those shoes are going to be glued to that floor.
And credit to Casey, our friend here from Big 12 Studios, who brings up a very important fact that both Richie Saunders and JT Toppin tore their ACLs on
hardwood
floors.
Normal floors.
Yeah.
Regular floors.
Regular floors.
Got it. Okay.
Let's not be calling things normal and abnormal, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's a floor. It has feelings.
Yeah. All right, so we've got two bangers today for the Big 12. Game 1 at 6 p.m. tonight. Arizona and Iowa State. That is a 1-5 matchup. The thing I love about the two games that we get later on is both of these teams, all of these teams, they only played once in the regular season, and it was just a few weeks ago. Remember, Arizona clinched the Big 12 regular season title with their win over Iowa State in Tucson. And then Kansas and Houston only played one time. Kansas beat Houston. That was the third loss in a row for the Cougars. The sky was falling. Everybody melting down about Houston's not as good. Well, we get a couple of rematches later on tonight in the semifinals.
Thanks for reminding me of that. I was confident that Kansas was going to win today, and now I'm less.
Because they only played once?
Yeah. And it feels like in these kind of matchups, these are the types of situations that split.
How about Arizona and Iowa State? Because remember, Arizona pounded Iowa State. Like, they held Iowa State to a season-low shooting. Iowa State shot less than 30% from the floor, which is pretty hard to do regardless of who you're playing. 73-57 was the final in that game. Arizona forced 16 Iowa State turnovers. Milan Momcilovic, Joshua Jefferson both had really quiet games. Jefferson went 2 for 17 shooting the basketball in Tucson. He's been really good so far in this Big 12 tournament. I expect him to be much better against Arizona tonight.
And not to take anything away from Tamin Lipsey and his importance to this team, but it feels like Iowa State goes as Joshua Jefferson goes. You know, when he shot 2 of 17, they lost 73-57, right? Like, I don't think that's a coincidence. So, you got an important text or something? What's going on?
Just checking some stuff.
Okay, cool.
My wife's awake.
Oh, good.
Yeah, she's up.
Update.
She's watching us. That's it.
Hi, Lacey.
So that little, hey. I'm listening to you, though.
No, thank you. So, yeah.
Joshua Jefferson is the X factor.
No, I don't know that I'd call him the X factor.
He's the factor.
Yeah. I think Iowa State goes as Joshua Jefferson goes. Like, he was a beast in yesterday's game, and, you know, they won it going away. And in the Houston game, like, he was down. He did not hit shots. Their offense, when he's knocking down shots and he's getting to the rim and he's being aggressive and scoring, their offense is really tough to beat. And, like, he adds an element to their offense that they just can't duplicate with other players. Like, they've got some good three-point shooting. Tamin Lipsey can do his thing, but ultimately, like, Jefferson brings something to the table they just don't have. And when he's on, they're on.
Kansas and Houston, that'll be the 8:30 game. Houston is 26-5. Kansas is 23-9. Darren Peterson had 16 of his 24 last night in the second half. Houston took down BYU. So these teams played on February 23rd in Lawrence. KU won that game 69-56. That was the Trey White game. Trey White had 23 points. It was the third consecutive loss for Houston. Now, all three of those L's came against top 15 teams, and 2 of those 3 were on the road. But they lost to Iowa State and then Arizona and then Kansas. And Houston had nothing left in that KU game. Like, they shot 32% from the floor. They shot 21% from 3. And remember, after that, Kelvin Sampson was like, we're dog-tired. I'm giving these guys 2 days off, which is the most un-Kelvin Sampson thing ever, to just give his team 2 days off during the week, during the middle of the season, to rest and recover. Well, they haven't lost since. That was Houston's last L, was KU.
And by the way, Iowa State, the first 2 games, largest margin of victory in first 2 games. Mm-hmm. If they lose today, do they blame the court?
I don't think the court will come up, no.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, they've
played really well on this.
Arguably the most dominant team in the history of basketball on that ASB glass floor.
That's a great point.
So, I mean, if I were them and I lose, I'm like, well, bring the LED court back. Bring the ASP glass floor back.
We got used to the other court. Now we're going back to the old court. It's a court catastrophe.
We've been dominating. We won by 49-20 on this court. We have no complaints.
KU and Houston, though.
Yeah.
You're nervous?
So what's different about Houston?
Well, I don't think they're as tired. They haven't played 3 consecutive top 15 teams with 2 of the 3 on the road.
I didn't mean what's different about them since last time they played.
Oh, okay.
What's different about them from maybe a week ago or 2 weeks ago?
Chase McCarty, I would say, is probably the number one thing. I mean, how many minutes did he even play in that first matchup, if at all?
Yeah, McCarty, last night he played 23, only scored 3 points, but I think just the 23 minutes is a pretty significant factor.
So he's played 20 or more minutes then in 4 of the last 5 Houston games. He had not played 20 minutes all season long in any game until these last 5. So, I mean, a major uptick in his production. And, again, he's learned to defend. He's playing within the offense. He's an elite shooter, but I think kind of the cat is out of the bag after you go 6 for 9 from 3 at Oklahoma State. Like, hey, this guy can shoot. We should probably guard him. But just him adding another layer to their backcourt is how they can survive when Emmanuel Sharp or Milos Using or Flemings or somebody else is off or in foul trouble. They had major foul issues yesterday against BYU.
Well, and they're a physical team. They play a physical brand of basketball. That's no surprise. And, when you get officials that want to blow whistles, whether that's in this tournament or in the NCAA tournament, you got to account for that. So I think you're absolutely right. Like, the depth they now have at guard is a huge difference and maybe a reason for why earlier in the season they weren't playing as good as we knew they were capable of.
So this is, I don't know which game I'm more excited about because I think Iowa State's going to give Arizona all they can handle. I think that revenge factor is a thing. And then Houston kind of almost feels like an underdog against KU because of the crowd and just how electric this environment's going to be. I just cannot wait for these games.
Yeah, Iowa State, they basically filled 75% of the arena yesterday afternoon. So I'd imagine if there were some folks from Iowa State that didn't make it out for the games yesterday, if you work for a living, then you probably, it's difficult to take a Thursday and come out here and get up for an 11:30 game, but Friday night at 6, you can make it for. So I'd imagine it's going to be fully full tonight. And then the late game will be Kansas and Houston, which has become a really good rivalry in the Big 12 and 2 of the elite programs in this conference. And it'll be full.
Well, last thing, I put together this really awesome segment we were going to do today about X Factors here in Kansas City. I had a really creative title for it, and then I saw the rundown, and it got punted because we've got so many player interviews. But in terms of X Factors at this tournament, guys that weren't all Big 12 that we've seen in person that have made major contributions. Who are the first guys that come to mind?
Well, Plata for Iowa State.
Great pick.
Iowa State, beyond Jefferson, has not had much interior scoring, and he brings that to the table. Plata has emerged in a way that gives them a little bit of depth on the interior. And again, for a team that at times can struggle to score, to have a guy with the size that he has that can finish around the rim, that's a guy that can help you be a slump buster. So he's the first name I thought of.
I like it. I like that pick. I would go Karchinkov for Arizona, who's kind of, he starts every game. He's one of the top, I think he leads the league or is top 3 in steals per game. He had a really big day yesterday that I think kind of got overlooked. He didn't miss a shot. I think he had like 10 or 12 points. He's an X factor. How about KU? Who's KU? I think Houston, we've identified Chase McCarty. But for Kansas, who's their X factor guy when you think about this team?
Marco Jackson. I think when we think about this, it's probably somebody that's coming off the bench. And, El Marco, I think, has played really well. He's another guy that wants to get to the rim. He hit a 3. Kansas only hit 4 threes in the game. He hit one of them, and especially in a big moment where Kansas was about to go down when TCU got a little hot. So he kind of ended a streak. He's a really good defensive player. Bill Self likes to put him on the ball against really tough guards. So, and I mean, he brings a scoring punch when they have to put either Council or Peterson on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's Marco Jackson.
Love it. Love the pick. So Plata, Karchenkov, McCarty, Jackson are 4 X factors. Setting the stage for the Big 12 semifinals. Coming up next, we'll talk with the Big 12 Player of the Year, Arizona guard Jaden Bradley, here on Big 12 Today on Big 12 Radio and Big 12 Studios. He's Ari, I'm James, and this is Big 12 Radio, brought to you by Modelo.
The players answer a questionnaire. What's your soreness level? How'd you sleep? What's your fatigue level? On and on to make sure that they are ready to play.
He's a Tasmanian devil defensively.
Sharp catch and shoot, buries that. Flemings will grab a seat. DeBonce inside. Woo!
I think Houston just fell asleep on the inbounds. They weren't ready to play defense.
DeBonce, you can see it right there. He's either scored or assisted on their last 10. And Rob Wright drills his second 3 of the game. In the blue, making noise. Flemings got some space, and he throws it down. Wow! Wright stepping through and finds Davis in the corner, and that one was rejected. But there's Keita to clean it up. Fleming's jumper got it. As he buries that one, he wanted a foul.
Over the last part of the season, but the last couple games, he's really helped.
Miller gets a step, spins it home. He used the rim to block off the defender.
Confidence in him. Hours of practice.
Flemings, that's a 3. Buried it. Oh, the closer comes through. Flemings the miss on the free throw. DeBonce will try and hit. He's got 3, and he has set a new Big 12 record. Houston able to win it 73-66. And for Kelvin Sampson,
Back here on Big 12 today on Big 12 Radio, heard exclusively on TuneIn, watched on Big 12 Studios. Super pumped to welcome in Arizona guard Jaden Bradley, recently named the Big 12 Player of the Year the other day. Jaden, walk us through the moment when you found out you were named not just all Big 12, but the Player of the Year in what we think is the best conference in America.
Yes, sir. It was kind of a crazy day. Just doing the normal stuff. It's actually on the way back from Lyft. One of my coaches put me to the side and told me, I was very honored, but like you said, I was shocked. It's such a great conference. We got great players. And I feel like the award could have gone to anybody, but I'm just very thankful to receive that award.
Yeah, were you surprised? We know Tommy Lloyd talks all the time about how underrated you are. Were you surprised that you got that recognition?
Yeah, for sure. I never, anything I do is not for to get recognition, to get attention, or none of that. I just go out there, try to serve my guys, serve the team. Just I'm really happy we won the Big 12, but that's past us. I'm on to the next play, trying to win a Big 12 tournament championship. So, that's where my mind's at.
Jaden, I think you're a really unique player in terms of how you play the point guard. Number one, you're bigger than I think people realize at 6'3". And then also, you don't take a lot of threes, but when you do take them, you make them at a really high clip. So I'm just curious, who do you kind of model your game after? And who are the guys that you watched that inspire you to play the way you play?
Yes, sir. People that grew up watching a lot, watched a lot of Chris Paul. Obviously, I play with his AAU organization. Just the stuff that he does, he can make his teammates better without scoring the basketball, putting guys in the right position. Obviously, his mid-range game, I kind of live in that space as well. But just his passing and all that stuff, I try to take bits and pieces from his game and kind of add my own spin on it.
This has, I'm sure, been a very different year for you, being in the role that you're at, but also, giving way, kind of playing off the ball a little bit with Braden.
Yeah.
How has that been? Has that helped you kind of change your game and mold in a different way?
Definitely for sure. Just having a great another combo guard with me and Braden definitely relieve some pressure. Can get off the ball a little bit and kind of like you said, when I do shoot the three, I can kind of hunt it a little bit more. Brady can shoot it, he can drive it, he can do all things. So just playing off each other, and we got great bigs, and we just kind of playing off each other, reading and reacting.
Or with Arizona guard Jaden Bradley here on Big 12 today. And Jaden, you don't strike me as a big stats guy, but I will share with you that you average more points per game against ranked teams than you do against unranked teams. So in those higher profile games, is that when you feel like as this senior leader, like that's your moment to step up and carry the team more so than those other games? Or what do you think has led to that?
I didn't even know that. I just feel like maybe it's just in those bigger games. I mean, every game is a big game, honestly. But like you said, when it's a ranked team versus a ranked opponent, it's more, it's just a little bit more attention. It's higher level of competition, and I feel like, that's as a college basketball player, that's what you want. You want to play against the best every night, and I just feel like I kind of do better when it's a high level game, and it's just I don't know. That's just the way it is.
I'm curious what you've learned or taken away from the last couple of trips to the NCAA tournament with Arizona.
For sure. Obviously, we haven't personally. I haven't been past the Sweet 16. I know they had the first round exit a couple years ago, but we try not to look at that stuff. But it's there. People know it, the fans and all that stuff. But we're just coming in here one step at a time. Obviously, focus on the Big 12 tournament play, and then after that, kind of it's win or go home. So we want to take it game by game. Every game is important. Just go out there, take care of the ball, score, defend, and just keep game by game, getting the scouting reports, and try to get to the Final Four, Sweet 16. So
But is there anything you've taken away from those experiences, good or bad, just in playing in those games?
yeah, I mean, obviously it's a win or go home situation. So kind of trying to get out to a good start. You can't. There's no redo, so can't get out to a slow start. Definitely got to have your defense on point. It's going to win games even if we're not scoring. at the clip that you want to. So defense is gonna win games. Turning it over. You watch a lot of games. It comes down to turnovers, trying to beat the press breaks and free throws. So just all the little stuff you got to be aware of those.
With Arizona, you guys started 22 or 23-0. Can't remember the exact number, but you guys were the clear-cut #1 team in the country. And then, even though you've only lost 2 games all year, it's almost like the national narrative is all about Duke and Michigan. Do you feel like you guys are a little bit, it's crazy to say this, but overlooked in terms of the best team in the country or one of the best?
Mm. Um, I don't think we're overlooked. I feel, like you said, we got off to a crazy start, but in my head, I was always thinking about. Obviously, I don't want to lose, but I was thinking about, when our first loss was going to come, how we would respond, and then it trickled down. We had 2 in a row losses, so. But I was always thinking about, how we're going to respond, and we did a great job, even though it was two losses in a row. We bounced back, had some tough games, injuries, and all that stuff, but. Like you said, Michigan and the other teams, Duke, the great teams, and I feel like just to be in a conversation, one of the best teams, in the nation, it's a good spot to be at. Obviously, it's going to be a tough challenge come down the line.
What I love about your game is it's almost like by any means necessary, and like even at your size, you can play in the post, and you love to back guys down that are smaller than you. I mean, is that just a part of your game that you've been working on because you've got good post moves, and you're not a 7-footer.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I just feel like it comes from just playing around after practice and coming in here at night. Our guys like to play one-on-one from the elbow, from the post. You just gotta mix in a variety of ways to score. And I feel like we have great post players already. You got Mo, Tobe, Koa. So we like us guards don't get many opportunities, but we do. We got to capitalize.
And on that, I mean, you come from Alabama, and Nate Oates famously is like a three or a layup
Yeah.
guy.
Yep.
Arizona's not exactly like that. It's kind of the
Yeah.
opposite.
Mhm.
Did you prefer that with Tommy as opposed to what Nate was running with lots of threes?
Yeah, no, Nate Oates is a phenomenal coach. Their system, it's crazy. A lot of threes and a lot of layups, but and it works. But some it just doesn't work for all people, and it just didn't fit my game all the way. I could have adjusted, adapted, but I came to Arizona and kind of the mid range, and we shoot threes from time to time. Cause we got great offensive rebounders with Tobe, Mo, Koa, Yvonne. Our guards do a great job. Floaters, mid range. So we just kind of everybody playing to their strengths. So yeah, I feel like that's what we do over here.
Arizona guard and Big 12 Player of the Year, Jaden Bradley, is with us here on Big 12 Today, exclusively on TuneIn, and you're watching us on Big 12 Studios. You've been at Arizona and you've played so many games and minutes that it's easy to forget that you were a transfer even at all. What has Arizona coach Tommy Lloyd unlocked in you in terms of your game, on or even off the floor as a person?
Yeah, for sure. I just feel like my confidence, just sticking with coach. He's very, hands on with the stuff he's doing. When he can, he's down there working with us, putting in work. And I feel like just the details. Like you said, I transferred in. I didn't start right away. I stuck with it. Became a starter and a kind of a key piece. But just the details, I appreciate the details he's teaching us, like pickup, swivels, different passing techniques. It's like the little stuff that can take your game to the big jump in the next level.
All right, let's get to know Jaden Bradley a little bit. What's one thing that people either don't know or maybe would be
Yeah.
just surprised to know
Mm.
about Jaden Bradley, the person?
Yeah. I think people that'd be surprised to know. Grew up in a band. Played the saxophone for pretty much most of my life. So
You still play?
from time to time. Not no, it's not all
You
the
like
time.
jazz?
Yeah, I like jazz here and there. Not all the time. Yeah,
Yeah. Jazz is like
That's
basketball. I've always seen the parallel. There's improvisation, there's
Mhm.
cohesion, there's
Yeah.
continuity.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
super
That's awesome.
cool. Awesome stuff. Well, Jaden, thanks for your time. Congratulations on being named Big 12 Player of the Year. And we'll be watching you guys up in KC and through the NCAA tournament. Hope you make a deep run and take the whole thing when we get to Indianapolis. We appreciate your time.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Congrats.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That is Arizona guard Jaden Bradley here on Big 12 Today, the Big 12 Men's Basketball Player of the Year. Heard exclusively on TuneIn. You're watching us on Big 12 Studios.
The second game of 4 here in Kansas City. And we are underway with a long, great tradition of winning teams. They were ranked for 1 week earlier this year, just the 6th week since the inception of the AP poll that UCF was in it. And the first bucket of the game belongs to Braden Burries.
And yet won the game because of their offensive rebounding, forcing turnovers.
Karchenkov looking for some room on the baseline. What a feed to Tobe Awaka.
This beautiful baseline drive.
Rivas back to Aristote. Still lots of time on the shot clock. Del Orso. The jumper. The 3 will go. 5 on the clock. Burries launches a 3. Stillwell's got it, and a nice look ahead. Johnson will put it home and get fouled. Folks behind the back, into the paint. The drive now by Burks, blocked by Krivas.
Well, it's a really good shot fake, but Krivas really protects the rim.
How good is Burries in transition? And his dad in the Hall of Fame for basketball at Cal State Bernardino. So the UCF Knights will await their fate on Sunday to see if they have done enough to solidify a spot in the NCAA tournament. Arizona will get ready for Iowa State. What a battle, Jay, that should be tomorrow.
Back here on Big 12 Today on Big 12 Radio and on Big 12 Studios. Ari Timken on the end. I'm James Westling, joined now by Arizona freshman Koa Pete. How does it feel to get the win over UCF and advance one more day in Kansas City in this tournament?
No, it feels really good. To get a win in the Big 12 is always special, because best conference in basketball.
Have you ever been on a team with this much talent?
I've been on a lot of good teams, especially with USA basketball. So
True, but
I think so for sure.
There's so many good players that are two-way players in this team.
Yeah,
it's just waves of you guys.
Yeah, no, it's really special. Everybody plays together. Everybody likes each other. It's a really close team.
How you guys are a physical team, and it's cultural, obviously. How does that? Take me through how and you come into this program. How does Tommy Lloyd run the program to get such a physical team?
Just a lot of kudos to our strength coach, Chris Rounds. He really got us right this summer. And then coach always wants us to play with force. So, yeah.
You battled some injuries this last month of the season. People can't see it, but you're all wrapped up here, sitting with us just after the last game was completed. How are you feeling in terms of your health, and what steps are you taking with the strength and conditioning staff and medical team to make sure that you're 100% for the NCAA tournament?
Just recovering after every game, every practice. There's some practices where I have to take off, just to get my body right. But it's been really good. We have really good athletic trainers, and J-Rock and Rounds have been getting me right, and my body feels good.
Are you feeling as good as you were a couple of months ago, or is it still kind of a gradual, you're getting there type thing?
I feel pretty good, honestly, out there. Yeah.
Look pretty good. Rebounding is obviously a huge key for Arizona. Is that just ingrained from the start in terms of rebounding and how to rebounding discipline? And who are the rebounders that you watch and look up to?
Definitely Tobe. He's our best rebounder. I think he's the best rebounder in the country. So he's a dog on the glass.
What does he do? How does he do it?
I don't know. You got to ask him. He just goes and gets it.
What's this art of the rebound? Take me through that.
I feel like he's just always in the right spot, honestly, and he's so physical and strong. He's moving guys out the way. Sometimes me and him fight over rebounds. I'm like, you got it, bro. I'm gonna just run the floor.
Yeah, we actually we did ask him about a month ago. He joined us on our show, and he kind of said the same thing, that he just always seems to be in the right spot.
Yeah, he just got a knack for the ball, for sure.
And today against UCF, you guys had offensive rebounds on almost half of your missed shots. So how does that help you? Is number one, you're one of the guys that's grabbing a lot of those offensive rebounds, but also just to know that those other guys have your back, and that if the first shot doesn't go in, there's a good chance you're going to get another opportunity.
I would just say, that's winning basketball. Getting offensive rebounds, you get more possessions, getting layups or getting fouled on your rebounds. That's just winning basketball, and it's helped us a lot. It's been a good formula for us.
One of the things that Tommy Lloyd was just talking about in the interview was, how sometimes there are certain environments where, maybe it's, especially early in the tournament, potentially where, you got to kind of create your own energy because there's not a ton of crowd energy. Did you feel that? And how, going through this experience for the first time for you, how did you feel trying to kind of feed off yourselves as opposed to the crowd?
No, you definitely feel that for sure. You just got to have that energy, play with emotion. Our bench needs to be a little bit better with our energy. And same with the players on the floor. We need to be better with our energy, and we're going to take that to the next game and be better with that.
Because you're used to crazy big crowds and loud environments. McKell Center gets wild. You play in different cities. There's lots of Arizona fans, so it must be kind of jarring to play in a building that's a little bit more quiet than you're used to.
I'm sure it'll be better tomorrow, especially with Iowa State. They're so close to here. They're going to have a lot of fans. So.
It'll be a lot of red, but I don't know if it'll be for you guys.
I think that'll create energy.
Yeah,
for sure.
I was going to say, does that motivate you guys? You're the highest seed. You're going to be a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. But if there was something to motivate you to play even better here in KC, can you use that as we're kind of the underdog in terms of at least the crowd that's going to be there?
No, it definitely could help us for sure, but I feel like every game we got to bring our own motivation, and we lacked that a little bit today. I thought we came out the gate pretty well, and then kind of got comfortable a little bit. We can't do that, especially in the tournament, These Cinderella stories happen, so we got to be smart with that.
Yeah, was that the biggest thing? Because you guys were up 34-8, and then all of a sudden we look up and it's 12, and UCF had a chance to get it to single digits. Yeah. Was it just kind of you felt like you took your foot off the gas pedal for a bit?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of that, and also, credit to UCF. They're a really good team, so, teams are going to make runs, and I thought we did a good job, though, at answering those runs.
Mm-hmm. They say the NCAA tournament, like, those games feel different. Obviously, this is not the NCAA tournament, but, like, do these games feel different than the regular season?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a stepping stone to the NCAA tournament. These are games that are going to get us prepared for them, especially, again, playing in the Big 12, best conference in basketball.
Yeah, and back-to-back, I mean, like, you basically have an Elite Eight game tomorrow.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
Iowa State's 7.
Yeah.
You guys are 2, 3, whatever, 2. So, like, that's crazy to think, in the semifinals, not even for the conference championship, you're playing as the 7 overall team in the country.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
It's an Elite Eight game.
Yeah, for sure. And a really good team.
Talking with Arizona freshman Koa Pete. Koa had 12 points, 4 rebounds, a couple of assists in Arizona's win over UCF at the Big 12 tournament. How long have you known Braden Burries, and what's that relationship like? You're both freshmen. You're both playing like seniors now this time of year. So take us through that.
No, that's my boy. We're always hanging out. I've known him since 7th, 8th grade. We used to play each other, made hoops. So that's been my guy since 8th grade, and that's like a brother to me now. So that's my boy for sure.
Yeah, how cool is it to be on this ride with him?
That's special for sure. That's my guy. Both want to be, in the NBA next year. We both got the same aspirations. We're always in the gym together, and he's a really special dude. That's my guy for sure.
Yeah.
Are you guys are you soaking up these moments that you guys have together in the postseason, knowing that, like you said, you're going to be in the NBA next year and probably on 2 different teams? Like, this is kind of that last ride in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, that's my guy. After every practice, he's over at my house. We're playing the game together in the hotel room. Last night we was in the game. We was on the game, playing the game all night almost. So, that's my boy, and he's always going to be my boy.
And then the other thing I want to ask you about is there's like a dozen Pete family members that have played professionally in some capacity. How many of your family members attend home games versus live in the area in Tucson, maybe are here in Kansas City? Just all that athleticism in one family is just super cool and so rare.
Yeah, my mom and dad are usually at all my games, so they're up in the stands. And then I know my brothers and sisters are watching from home, wherever they're at. So, I mean, texting me after all the games is really special. I've been blessed and fortunate with a great family. So
every game, huh? Texting.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Amazing. Tell about the CVS TikTok.
My sister got me right with that. My sister's one of my agents. So
that's awesome.
Just
your teammates were giving you some like in the comments. Is that what?
No, they was messing with me for sure.
That's pretty cool though.
Yeah, shout out CBS.
Awesome stuff. Koa, hey, congrats on the win. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
yes,
thank
sir.
you.
Arizona freshman Koa Pete here on Big 12 Today on Big 12 Radio, watching us on Big 12 Studios from Kansas City. Back here on Big 12 Today on Big 12 Radio, watching us on Big 12 Studios with Ari Temkin on the end. I'm James Westling, and we are joined now by Arizona freshman Braden Burries, who went off against UCF with 21 points, was a plus-minus of 24 in Arizona's impressive win. Post-game, how does it feel to get the win over the Knights and move one more day further?
UCF is a great team, so I just feel like that was a great win for us, just feel like the most important thing for us is going to be how we bounce back tomorrow and just our recovery.
They've talked like in the past about like something called the freshman wall. If that exists, it doesn't seem like you've hit it. You seem to have gotten stronger as the season's gone on.
Yeah.
Can you take me through that? How does that work?
I kind of went through that at like the beginning of the year. Honestly, like the first few games, I wasn't like the best, and I just had to get experience. Coach brought me in, and he just like talked to me like, this happens regular. As a freshman, it's gonna happen. You're gonna have bad games. You're not gonna play as good as you want to. And he said the best thing for you is just experience, and that's what he never stopped trusting me and losing faith in me. So I just thank him a lot, and then also the seniors on the team just being there for me, just lifting me up.
Yeah, Tommy was telling us about that, back in January, that like you started the year cold, essentially, shooting the basketball, but your demeanor, your effort and practice never changed. Like those are things that seniors do, not freshmen. So take us through kind of that adversity at the beginning of the year and how it helped you prepare for what you're doing now.
I'm very, very thankful for it because I feel like if I would have played great like from the beginning of the year, I feel like it would just came easy to me, and I feel like I would have wanted it easy, and I don't want it that way. I feel like me going through that struggle, you know, it helped me just knowing that it's not gonna be easy, and then like most importantly, like even though I'm not playing good, I can always be like a great teammate. You know, I can still like cheer my teammates on, and people that are having great games, be there for them.
Yeah, I mean, and I think the other part to that too is just, you know, how incredible it is for an experienced team. You know, you've got a guy like Jaden Bradley, right? He's player of the year of the conference, third leading scorer on the team, and especially to play the same position as him. Like, what was that like as you're coming into a situation? You know, you're heavily recruited, obviously a 5-star, big-time talent, coming in with a guy like Bradley who's been here, who has that experience at the same position.
I know some people like like if you got another person coming in highly rated, it's like, oh, you're trying to take my spot.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let you do that. He was never like that. He brought me in, welcomed me with open arms. You know, first day I committed, he texted me, he said, let's do it. And then first day I got on campus, he was there. He was leaving the gym, I was going to the gym. You know, we talked right there, and then ever since then, our relationship's just been going up and better and better.
I mean, and like, I don't know how much have you learned from him, and then the other thing is, I guess, has it helped you in your game playing off the ball, him playing off the ball, you guys kind of playing off each other that way?
I feel like, you know, learn from him, just like picking up on reads, you know, how to guard like the low guards, low fast guards, you know, and then honestly, like me bringing the ball up, him playing off the ball, or him bringing the ball up, me playing off the ball. Like I feel like it's helped both of us, and not only both of us, but the team in whole.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so those are the things that you've learned from Jaden Bradley, but like when you guys are on the floor together, how does he make your life easier, essentially?
Yeah. Honestly, just, you know, he drives, he creates two, just throw it out. You know, he's a smart player, you know, and also he can score it. So like, it's not so much pressure on me because he can score it, Koa can score it, Tobe or Mo can score it. Like it's like everybody can just go off any given night.
Right.
I mean, is there anybody physically in this league at the position you play that could stop you one-on-one off the dribble?
I mean, I like to say, like, humbly speaking, no. Like confidence.
I mean, you're a truck
just,
downhill, dude. Especially your position.
Yeah, I feel like just like confidence, just putting the work in, no. But like,
yeah.
You know, obviously sometimes it happens, so just gotta live with it.
Were you this big in high school?
Nah,
like,
I was.
How much weight have you put on? Muscle, I'm saying, since you got to Tucson.
I mean, you could be a defensive end.
In high school, I didn't lift. I didn't start lifting until college. Yeah, I was just doing like push-ups and stuff.
So you've been lifting for like a year? Not even.
Once
basically.
Once I got to Arizona, they started having me lift, and like to like Big 12, you gotta get bigger. So I was like, yeah.
So you didn't lift in high school? Why not?
I don't know. Like, we just didn't. Like, it was just our team.
I mean, that's
We just practiced. We practiced a lot, and then we would just play basketball, like just hooped a lot.
So this time of the year, some teams are just completely worn down. You personally, how are you feeling? You know, do you feel 100%? Do you feel like you have the strength left to make a deep, you know, NCAA tournament run, and how?
I think for us to make a deep run, we're gonna have to continue to just stay together. You know, rebound, defend. That's gonna be like the key part for us. And then like you said, just being worn out. Nah, I feel like you only get one chance at this with all of us together because we got seniors that's gonna leave next year, and we're not gonna be able to run it back next year with those seniors. So like, just don't take it for granted. You know, take one game at a time. Just have fun, and yeah.
So
it's a blessing.
With you know, Jaden, he makes your life easier.
Yeah.
Also, you guys just dominate the offensive glass. Like you had offensive rebounds on almost half of your team misses against UCF. It has to be encouraging to know that, you know, somehow, some way, you're going to get your shots, even with all the depth on this roster because of how many offensive rebounds you guys grab.
Yeah, you know, they do a great job of just offensive rebounding. You know, especially Tobe, Koa, Mo, even Dwayne. You know, and Avon. Like, they just make our lives easier as guards. You know, because if you shoot it, you know that there's a good chance that we're gonna get it back.
So you mentioned, you know, the seniors, you won't be able to run it back next year. Koa Pete just told us that you weren't going to get back anyways next year. So
Koa did?
Koa's like, oh yeah, me and Braden will be in the NBA next year. So I don't know. I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know if Koa's going to speak for you, but
yeah, nah. I just be taking it one game at a time, honestly. Like, I like just to just enjoy like the journey.
Yeah.
You know, like just be where my feet are, and just it's a blessing, honestly.
All right, what's something that fans and viewers of Arizona and the Big 12 need to know about Braden?
And also,
Burries?
before you answer that, do you know that Jaden Bradley plays the saxophone?
Really?
Yeah, we asked him the same question. That's what he said.
I could juggle.
You could
Juggle?
Yeah.
Okay.
How many?
3.
3.
Yeah.
But you can you can't there's people juggle like 4 or 5, right? Like I'm not making that up, right?
Yeah. I could juggle 3.
I can juggle 2. You?
1, barely, maybe a half.
I like to mess around a lot. I like to just mess around with my teammates a lot.
Like
okay.
Practical jokes?
Jokes, or we'll be walking, I'll go like this. Look, I just do little things like that and just be like a little kid sometimes.
You've got that childlike energy that you
Yeah.
bring to the table. All right, what's one part of your game that you continue to work on that is kind of like your number one focus this late in the year?
Just continue to be able to get a shooter. Just continue to get shots up, and then just the reads. Coming off ball screen, stuff like that. So that was like the 2 main things, and then my defense.
Awesome stuff. Braden Burries, Arizona guard.
Thank you.
Joining us here on Big 12
Thank
today
you.
on Big 12 Radio and on Big 12 Studios.
The second game of 4 here in Kansas City. And we are underway with a long, great tradition of winning teams. They were ranked for 1 week earlier this year, just the 6th week since the inception of the AP poll that UCF was in it. And the first bucket of the game belongs to Braden Burries.
And yet won the game because of their offensive rebounding, forcing turnovers.
Karchenkov looking for some room on the baseline. What a feed to Tobe Awaka.
This beautiful baseline drive.
Rivas back to Aristodes. Still lots of time on the shot clock. Del Orso, the jumper, the 3 will go. 5 on the clock. Burries launches a 3. Stillwell's got it, and a nice look ahead. Johnson will put it home and get fouled. Folks behind the back, into the paint. The drive now by Burks, blocked by Krivas.
Well, it's a really good shot fake, but Krivas really protects the rim.
How good is Burries in transition? And his dad in the Hall of Fame for basketball at Cal State Bernardino. So the UCF Knights will await their fate on Sunday to see if they have done enough to solidify a spot in the NCAA tournament. Arizona will get ready for Iowa State. What a battle, Jay, that should be tomorrow.
Back inside Big 12 today here on Big 12 Radio. Heard exclusively on TuneIn. This is the Big 12 Conference. This is a different league. You're watching us on Big 12 Studios. We've talked with Tamin Lipsey, Koa Pete, Braden Burries, and now we chat with Ryan Hammer. He is, if you know ball, you know the name, Ryan Hammer, who joins us here on Big 12 Radio. What's up, Ryan?
How's it going? I don't know if I live up to the standard of those guys, but I'm going to do my best.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you didn't play the game at as high of a level, but you analyzed the game at as high of a level. So we're super excited to have you on. Obviously the Trapezoid of Excellence has been a major talking point this time of year, and beyond that, I think you do a great job in covering college basketball. So thanks so much for your time. I guess first off, let's start with the Trapezoid of Excellence. Like, what is it? How did it come to be?
Yeah, the Trapezoid is basis of it is it's this analytical theory with a lot of proof now that the faster or slower you play stylistically in pace, the better you need to be at that outlier style to win a national championship and succeed at the highest level in March. It's for the teams trying to – it's not just to win in March in general, because teams can win 2 or 3 games and go on this little tournament run by playing those crazy paces and outliers because they're different and teams aren't used to playing them. If the matchups are right, I always point to Alabama as that kind of thing. But the analytical theory says you have to be adaptable, right? So you don't know what type of team you're going to play the next day, and sometimes you have a day or two turnaround. So the theory is that the more adaptable you are and better you are altogether in style and pace, obviously, the better suited you are to succeed in March and win the national championship. Honestly, the charts, I love doing them because it helps me see things quickly and digest things quickly, and I think that's why fans like it, because it helps them digest things quickly when they're like, where's the Kansas logo? Where's the Missouri logo? Where are all my logos? So I use a site and software that spits out the logos for me, and I was watching Alabama, I think it was 2 years ago or maybe 3, playing ridiculously fast, and I was like, there's no way this is sustainable. There's no way this makes sense. So I went and looked into pace, and then I started with a bunch of different metrics. Overall efficiency ended up being the one that I looked into. I used a chart and some video work and some Twitter work. People were like, oh, cool. All these teams in the middle seem to be the best teams. And some of them, whatever, is that the same thing going back in history? And I was like, yeah. I was like, we'll call this the Trapezoid of Excellence because the teams that you have to be really good, like Virginia in 2019 and Houston in the last few years, if you're really slow or really fast, vice versa. So it kind of took off from there. I had no intention, no strategy or game plan for it. It just kind of did its course.
All right, so you mentioned Houston as one of those teams. Who are those outlier teams when you look at this season, the teams that are doing what they do at the highest level and with all that historical data are the true national championship Final Four contenders?
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky because Florida, Michigan, Arizona are 3 teams that play at faster paces than teams that quality normally do. I don't have the shape or anything to chart in front of me, but I would bet that I know Michigan, Arizona will still be in it. Florida probably on the cusp. If not, they're in it also. But the Alabama type teams are like Georgia this year and A&M. Their quality isn't anywhere near where those fast-paced teams have been, like Alabama in the last few years. Gonzaga has gotten up there at times. So right now it's Florida is probably that one team on the fast side that you look at, but it's not this outlier, uncomfortably fast-paced. They can play in a grueling game. They've done it multiple times this year. And then the other side, Houston is the one team. I think that in Big 12 play, they've had to play a little faster than they're comfortable playing sometimes. So they've kind of gotten reamed back into the middle a little bit. I would assume that they're probably still in. But other than that, the teams that are super outlier are Iowa, maybe St. Mary's is still out there. But Iowa is the one I think of, and they're way out there. But they're nowhere near where they need to be in quality. So.
What do you make overall of just the styles within the Big 12, the scope of styles and stylistic differences in the Big 12?
I'm not saying it's come on the show. It's the best league in the country. It's the best league in the country in terms of quality, obviously top tier quality. It's been that for years. Obviously the SEC last year was crazy. The ACC's had its fair share of a couple of years for sure. But overall, consistently, the Big 12 is the highest quality league. It also has the best style, I think, that is enjoyable and digestible, but also projects well for the tournament. I look at teams like Texas Tech, I call them junkyard dogs, right? Even the way Kansas plays when they're on, when Iowa State is on, Houston, Arizona, these teams play so tough and gritty against each other on both ends of the floor that I think it's the best balance offensively and defensively, where the SEC, you just don't get the defense that you need to outside of like Florida and Tennessee. Like it's just not there, and they play fast pace and less schematics and a lot of ISO ball. Like that's what the SEC does, but the Big 12 does the best of everything, in my opinion, where they have elite offense, elite defense, elite coaching, but they have elite talent also. So to me, it's the best pool of everything together.
Well, when you talk about coaching, we're talking with Ryan Hammer here on Big 12 Studios and Big 12 Radio exclusively on TuneIn. Ryan, when you talk about coaches, we know there's going to be at least 2 new coaches in the Big 12 next year. One of them will be Belmont's Casey Alexander. I am a Kansas State grad. I'm super pumped about this hire. He was always kind of my dark horse candidate, and I just want to get your thoughts on what he looks like stylistically, and what do you think of the fit?
Yeah, I like him a lot. I think he's an underrated guy because he's been at Belmont for like a decade, and he hasn't been to the NCAA tournament because he's won 20 wins every single year in the last 10 years. I think it's like 7 years at Belmont and then a few at Lipscomb before that. But 20 wins every single year. He's one of like 5 or 6 coaches to do that at that consistent basis. It's like Mark Few. I think Dana Altman was at that point at one point. Like guys like that are like true legends of the game that are in that category. So that's obviously good. He knows how to win. He's innovative enough. He's analytically, especially on the offensive end, very analytically forward and forward-thinking, which I think is awesome and great for the Big 12. And he's a good recruiter, and he knows how to get it done. Like I said, 2020 he won the MVC tournament, or OVC might have been at the time. COVID cancels their tournament. A couple of years, they have crazy injuries. They had a team with Malik Dia, Cade Tyson, Jacoby Gillespie, all 3 very good high major players, all on one team. And then Jacoby gets hurt, and they have another guy get hurt, and they end up missing the tournament. But so I think he's an underrated hire because of that. But he's a really good balance of being innovative and analytical, but not overly so. I think you can see that in Belmont's analytical profile this year, and just being intelligent and adaptable. I've talked to him a ton. He's a friend of the program. We call him because he came on my show. We've talked to the Belmont players and staff a ton, and he gets revered by everybody he kind of interacts with. So,
Ryan, off the wall question here. What'd you do with your tractor?
I didn't get it. So yeah, by the way, he said I haven't done the same basketball level as those guys. I'm 5 for 9 from 3 in a packed Hilton Coliseum.
So maybe
I'll text Tamin after this. I'm like, or maybe I won't today on a game day. But he hasn't done that. He hasn't shot that high percentage either. So I'll take that.
Great point. So
I had to go pick it up. And
so if you guys, real quick, Ryan. So Ryan hit 5 threes in 35 seconds at Hilton Coliseum once and won a tractor in doing so. Okay, so go ahead.
Well, what they call a tractor, they said tractor, and I was like you mean like in New Jersey, a tractor is like the big ass farm tractors. I'm like, what am I gonna do with this? And then I come to find out it's the ride-on lawnmower they call tractors out there. I'm like, that's a lawnmower. That's not a tractor to me. Nonetheless, they said I'd have to go pick it up. I was gonna give it away, frankly. Do like some kind of giveaway for Iowa State fans because me and Iowa State fans have gotten very, very tight this year. And they said I had to go pick it up, and it had to be me because I was the person who signed the waiver or whatever. So they offered a cash compensation instead at a little lower than the value of the tractor. So I'm taking the cash, but I'm donating half of it to the local animal shelter out there.
That's amazing.
Sweet.
That's
there's a John Deere.
And yeah, you're right. I should have given you more credit for your basketball abilities as you hit.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all right.
Ryan, are you wearing a Hawaii basketball shirt?
Yeah, honestly, like I've had this on. I didn't even realize I had it on until like 10 minutes ago.
I was going to say, don't sleep on UC Irvine, okay? Big rivalry out there in the Big West. That Big West tournament's going to be legit.
It's great. Hawaii's good though. I like the Rainbow Warriors.
What Big 12 fans are like you mentioned the Iowa State fans, they call this Hilton South. Just curious, like what fans are in your DMs the most?
Great question. Iowa State fans are my biggest audience nationwide by far because I was there last year. I connected with them well, but this year I went and it was a whole nother world for me. Like I've never experienced anything like that doing what I do. I love all of them for that, and they love me, and it means the world to me. And they're such nice people out there, and I spend so much time out there and like interacting with people also that they become like I'm not an Iowa State fan. It's like a second home, I call it, in the middle of the country that for no reason. Other than that, Michigan State fans are always in my DMs because they think I hate them when I don't, and they just want more credit for things, which is maybe that's fair. And then for the same reason, I'd say Kansas. I think Kansas fans are wildly passionate, obviously, and they just want the love they deserve, and maybe I haven't given that. I don't know. And then SEC fans in general all get bucketed into one massive group, and they just SEC fans. So yeah.
I just love they just want more love. Like, just love us. I'm a Kansas alum, but I totally agree with you. I figured you'd mention Kansas in that conversation.
They're passion. It's passion.
Yeah. One of the things on Iowa State, so you were on Evan Mia's podcast earlier this year, and one of the things you guys talked about was the kill shot, and kind of went through at that point in time some of the outlier, interesting anecdotes and when it came to the kill shot. And Iowa State was an interesting one because for an elite defensive team, they'd given up a ton of kill shots, which was surprising. And I think both you and Evan sort of attributed that to, at times their offense. It wasn't their defense necessarily, but it was their offense getting into these lulls. What do you think is the key to avoiding that in the tournament? They obviously have success at Hilton here, which is Hilton South. So, like, home courts, they seem to have success, but they can have these lulls on offense. How do you think they fix that? How do you think they get that right in the tournament?
Hey, neutral court, Iowa State. I watched them in Vegas. I was there. I saw them play 3 times, and this is still a neutral court for whatever you want to believe. And I know
Fair.
it's Hilton South, but
Sure.
but still, their style is like, to me, they're one of the few teams in the country that when they lose, they beat themselves. It's that simple. Like, teams can game plan against them. They can play them well. They can play them tight. But when they are on, they are arguably a top 4 or 5 team in the country. Without, not even arguably, definitely top 4 or 5 team in the country. They're arguably top 2 or 3. Like, they can be absolutely anybody. They can go win by 30 in Mackey, and which, to be fair, a couple of other teams have done. But I don't discredit Iowa State for that, obviously. I think their style is on them in offensive shooting and confidence, where they need someone other than Milan to get going. And I think when they're on offensively, it completely kickstarts their defense. Their defense is obviously great. Their system is great. It works. It's successful. It's been proven to do that for the last few years. But their offensive ceiling has never been this good in these Otzelberger teams. So when anyone but Milan is shooting the ball well, because even if Milan's shooting 0 for 8, and Jamarian Bateman's 2 for 4, which is all you need, and Nate Heise's 2 for 2, Milan will continue to shoot, and he will get his shots in, and he will get them up, and he will sink them. So if anybody else is shooting, having good nights offensively other than Milan, whether he's on or off in that moment, I think that's the key to Iowa State. It kickstarts their defense. Their fans travel everywhere, so they're going to give in energy to them. They lock in defensively, and then that's how they turn those into kill shots, or vice versa. Maybe they don't.
Talking with Ryan Hammer here on Big 12 Today on Big 12 Radio, watching us on Big 12 Studios. Ryan, of the teams outside of like that upper echelon in the Big 12, so let's highlight, say, BYU, TCU, and UCF. Of those 3, who do you like as maybe a Cinderella run in the NCAA tournament, and why?
Well, it's not BYU, but I do want to say that if they are like a 7 seed, say, or maybe even a 6, and I got to go play against AJ DeBanza if I'm a 2 or 3 seed in the second round, that's terrifying. That is just absolutely terrifying. It's without a doubt TCU is my answer. I've talked about them a lot over the last month of the season. They've been unbelievable. They looked good last night. Kansas was playing not up to their complete standard, but Kansas looked good last night and relatively well to kind of get that win. But TCU has been great, much better. They also were good. They beat Florida. They almost beat Michigan earlier in the year. They beat Wisconsin. Like, maybe that was the true, and they also lost to New Orleans. But, like, maybe those wins were showing us what they're capable of, and now we're seeing that later in the season. I like them a lot for March as a dark horse, because the way that a dark horse could win like this is on the defensive end and forcing turnovers and scoring off that. They play the same. Texas Tech does it. Houston does it. Iowa State blitzing high ball screens, doubling and rotating and kind of tagging rollers inside. And they're not going to play a Big 12 team in the first weekend, obviously. So whoever they play are not going to be used to getting that, because teams outside the Big 12 don't really do that very often and blitzing high ball screens. So that's massive. It leads to a lot of turnovers, forcing turnovers from their opposition offensively, and I think that's awesome. They do that so well. They have length everywhere. They have guys who can start getting red hot shooting the ball, and I think that's the recipe for success as a dark horse team. And I look at the 2 and 3 seeds that they might get to play against, like a UConn or Purdue or teams like that I think it kind of bodes well for TCU, and they can kind of give those teams a run for their money.
I'm curious, what are some of the regular season statistical indicators of postseason success? What do you think are some of the things to look for that can be conducive to postseason success?
Listen, if it was easy to generalize that, yeah. I'd have a perfect bracket at some point. Everyone would, right?
That or you'd be coaching, maybe.
Yeah, there are things like, to me, the 4 factors of basketball are so simple. They're the 4 factors of basketball for a reason, mainly turnover percentage and rebounding margin. Like, those 2 margins, they think about turnovers. You either steal possessions away and you create extra possessions essentially than your opponent, and rebounding, you are eliminating second chances for them and extra possessions for them, and you're getting second chances and extra possessions for yourself. So you're statistically just making the game in your advantage. If you win both of those margins in any given day, you have more chances to score the basketball than the other team does on the other side of the floor. So those two things for sure, and they have worked. Like, you go look at the teams who are going to win national championships, go to the Final Four and their runs, and even all year, like, they're going to do those things at least relatively well, if not at an elite level. So.
Yeah, well said. Ryan Hammer, man, appreciate your time. This was awesome. Hope to have you join us again once the brackets are released. We'll be in touch.
Make sure to check out the Blue Blooded podcast. That's Ryan's podcast.
Appreciate you all the time.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan.
Ryan Hammer, Trapezoid of Excellence. He is the man.
I don't know if that was a trapezoid, but that was excellent.
It was excellent. An excellent trapezoid, that interview. Check out his podcast, Blue Blooded Pod, wherever you get your podcast. This is Big 12 Today on Big 12 Radio, brought to you by Modelo. Coming up next, we talk Kansas basketball with Shreas Lada. He'll join us after this timeout. We are brought to you by Modelo, exclusively on TuneIn and watched on Big 12 Studios.
Texas Tech can really shoot the three, as Jay mentioned. Iowa State can really guard. Something's got to give here this afternoon. Trap in the corner. Watts gets out of it. Anderson from the wing for three.
With two on the ball on the left side. I mean, he does a great job on the glass. A really good guard rebound. He had 9 rebounds against Iowa State at Hilton.
Donovan Atwell is open. Josiah Mosley in off the bench. He didn't get going till late January because of an ankle injury, but he's gotten going early here today. A freshman, a very good shooter out of Milwaukee, on the floor right now for Iowa State. Nifty stuff there from Lipsey.
The only one with more in Big 12 history is Buddy Hield.
A turnover. Lipsey, left hand, lays it in. But it did appear to be his left leg that he is favoring right now. Lipsey to scoop, it'll go.
Just got a screen from Momcilovic. He slipped out of it to the three-point line.
Izzy and Plata both checking in for Iowa State. Mosley checking in for Texas Tech. Jefferson, a nice jump hook.
He does a great job of
Anderson, that's deflected. Atwell, a big three for Donovan Atwell.
One thing you know, Texas Tech is going to keep shooting.
They are 7 for 19 from three in this one, like he just did. He just makes winning plays. Jefferson, 2 more. Iowa State will get the winner of our next game between Arizona and UCF. TJ Otzelberger's team has won 2 games by 71 points, Jay, to open up the Big 12 tournament.
Big 12 today here on Big 12 Radio, powered by Modelo. Heard exclusively on TuneIn, watched on Big 12 Studios. With Ari Timken, I'm James Westling. Shreas Lada joining us now, KU Hoops and football reporter for the Kansas City Star. Shreas, good morning. What's up?
Good. How are you guys?
Man, why is Jamie Dixon trying to take Darren Peterson out of this tournament? How dare he?
I watched that happen. Like, I was across the court from when it happened, like Christian courtside, and I wasn't quite sure what the heck happened. So I was like looking on Twitter, and everyone keeps on sending me this like clip, and I'm like, I still don't really understand why he did that, to be honest with you.
Would it be too harsh to arrest him for assault?
You know, with everything that's happened with Darren Peterson this year, that would be the latest storyline that I wouldn't even be surprised about.
Shreas, you've been out in front of all of the Darren Peterson stuff, you know. I mean, and it's not easy reporting when there's not a lot of access to information. It feels like right now is as good as this team can be playing together. Like we saw Kansas play with kind of two separate teams, and when Peterson was playing, everybody else was kind of standing around. And now it's like they've at the right time come together to be one team in a way that we just haven't seen all year. And we're not talking as much about the minutes with Peterson. Now we're talking about a team that's trying to figure out how to play together, but it feels like maybe the second half of that Arizona State game was a huge, turning point in this.
Yeah, I thought it was tremendous. I mean, I feel like they definitely looked better as a team. Their defense was really gritty, like they need to be in this postseason to make a run. I think hopefully you see Peterson hit a little more shots than you saw against TCU, but I thought he did a great job getting the line. I mean, they went to the line 37 times as a team. I mean, the offense wasn't doing anything, but they got to the line. They made use of those free throws. I think they went 30-37, which is pretty good, 81% or so. But I thought Kansas overall, like, this is the type of stuff they need to do, I think, to make a run, because they're going to have to rely on their defense, and then you hope Peterson and the rest of the guys play well offensively. And I thought the second half especially, they were much better offensively than they were in the first half in that game.
Shreas, are you concerned about KU's lack of three-point shooting?
I'm always concerned about KU's lack of three-point shooting. It's the thing I've been concerned about for 3 years now, since Grady Lick left, really.
Yeah.
I'm definitely worried because I feel like it's pretty reliant on two guys making threes, which is Darren Peterson and Trey White. So if those guys are off from three, you're already kind of like asking yourself, okay, who's going to hit enough three-pointers? And if you find yourself in a shootout somehow, because sometimes KU's defense isn't as good as it should be, are they have enough shooting to make and stay up with the best shooting teams in the country? I don't know if they do. I just don't really trust a lot of the guys to shoot consistently from three. I mean, Marco Jackson hit a three there. I mean, he's not a great three-point shooter. Cole Rosario, who's a guy who's coming as a shooter, he hasn't quite figured out as a freshman. Melvin Council is too streaky. It is definitely a massive concern for me because I think they're getting the moments in the Big 12 tournament, or they're going to be moments in the NCAA tournament where they're going to have to hit some threes to keep up with a good offensive team. And if Darren Peterson and Trey White are not on, I just a little concerned of who's going to be the one hitting threes.
Yeah. Talking with Shreas Lada here, Kansas City Star. Shreas, what's your perspective on Darren Peterson in this season?
Yeah, it's been a weird season, a really difficult year. I think, and we've talked about this already, like I think the way the things have been handled PR-wise haven't been the best. Lack of transparency from his camp, lack of him talking to media has led to reckless and rampant speculation. I think it's been frustrating for Kansas fans because they want to watch him play basketball. I asked him yesterday in post-game locker room, and I asked him, he's like, is this the first time you feel 100% all year? He's like, I think you could say that. Yeah. And I thought it was interesting. He opened up a little bit about kind of the stuff that's going on behind the scenes for him. And he was like, I've had to change my diet. I've had to get, electrolytes. I've had to do this. I've had to do that. More open about what's happened in a way that I think, if he had done almost 2 months ago, he'd have a lot more sympathy from Kansas fans and the general public. I think it's been a weird snake-bitten year. I think there's some level of they've tried to protect him because of what's at stake. So the bar of health is higher than the typical player because of the fact that, he's a guy who's projected 1 or projected 2. But, when they've had opportunities to talk to media, when they've had opportunities for him to get out there in front of the press, he hasn't been the best, and his camp hasn't been the best explaining what's going on and being able to gather their sympathy. And it's been a weird year because it's like I've written so much about him, and the more I write about him, the more sources I get because, NBA scouts reach out, people reach out, who are connected with his camp. I'm connected on his camp side. I'm connected on the KU side, but they've been interesting to deal with overall, as I've talked about before. But, the hope is he puts together a special postseason play and nobody remembers the 11 games he missed and, the countless other games where he had to leave early because of this cramping issue. And, we're talking about Darren Peterson, the top prospect, instead of Darren Peterson. Is he available to play?
Okay, so for us to be talking about Darren Peterson, the top prospect, how far does Kansas need to advance in the NCAA tournament for that to be the discussion versus Darren Peterson minutes played all year long?
I think it's at least Elite 8. That's where I'm at. Okay. I think you get to the second weekend, you win a game at least. I think, the funny thing was, I had some scouts texting me yesterday, and when DeBonzo was playing, I was, sitting in the building watching him play just in, the stands, and a scout texted me, was like, the race for the number 1 pick is over, man. It's DeBonzo. And I talked to another scout, and he was like, yeah, it started off as what Peterson might have been having the lead, but, AJ's had such a good year that gap has gone away to a point where if you have AJ over Peterson, I completely understand. So I think in some ways you want him if you're a Kansas fan, but also if you're a fan of Darren Peterson and you believe in his level as a prospect, the more games he plays, the better, because AJ is getting, opportunities to play more games because they absolutely need him out there on the court and being the focal point of the BY team that just is so reliant on him. I don't think Kansas is going to be quite like that, but ideally you see more efficient shooting from him and the stocks that he provides, et cetera. If he goes on a deep run, who knows? Things keep on shifting. I think these guys are going to go 1 and 2. It just depends on who becomes number 1 and number 2 in the draft.
You want to ask about the retirement stuff?
Yeah, Bill Self and the speculation surrounding his potential retirement. What can you tell us there?
I don't think that's happening.
Okay.
I would be surprised if he left. It seems like, Bill's lost 40-ish pounds. He's talked about it and come out and said, it starts off as an online rumor and things kind of just go from there and balloon from there. And people love speculation. I've always felt if Bill was going to retire, it was going to be after next season, not this year. I think he's been very heavily involved in this upcoming class. He's probably going to help land Tyron Stokes, the number 1 overall recruit, to come to Kansas, along with Taylor Kinney, a top 15 guy who's already been committed, and a countless other 4 or 5 stars. But I think right now it's just rampant speculation. I would be a little surprised if this is the last year, and especially if they go out in a weird early exit. I think he will want to come back and end on a deep run, and no speculation of is this team ready to compete for the next guy? He's talked about not wanting to leave on a bad note. I don't see Bill Self leaving when we don't know what the future of Kansas basketball looks like next year, besides the recruiting class coming in.
Yeah, well said. Really interesting stuff. I mean, and look, I think it's almost like it feels like it could be the end, regardless of speculation or regardless of sourcing or whatever else, because I don't know, he's been more celebratory at times this season where we're not used to really seeing that. Look, he was hospitalized, precaution or whatever, coaching isn't good for your heart. I know he's in way better shape, and he's got a different lifestyle now, and he eats better, and he's lost weight, like you said. But coaching's not good for your heart, regardless of how much you weigh. It's not. it is an intense. There's an intensity involved in it. It's, you need. I mean, and Bill Self especially, like, he needs to get to Final Fours. Otherwise, it's a failure. I mean, that's how he's judged and how the University of Kansas is judged. So it's, I don't know. I guess that to me is what always stood out about the potential for it was I didn't have any inside information. I wasn't talking to Bill Self or people around him. It just felt like, oh, this is a different guy that maybe is smelling the rose a little bit and what could be his last run.
Yeah, I think the end is coming. I mean, I guess theoretically he could leave after this year, and I wouldn't be super surprised. But I always felt it'd be next year or the year after that. But it's so hard to tell with these guys, right? Like, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. You don't know how his health really is. He can say one thing to the press, but how he really feels, we have no idea, right? And I've been on this beat. This is my 4th season on the beat. I have a decent relationship with Bill Self. And I've been around 2 now Hall of Fame coaches between Dan Hurley and Bill Self, and they're 2 very different guys, right? It's easier for me to predict what Dan Hurley's doing than what Bill Self is doing, because Bill Self, just to be honest with you, is a better liar than Dan Hurley is, Dan, for better or worse, puts everything on emotions on his sleeve. And I think, when it happens, and when he announces it and the way he does it, is going to be everything is on his terms. So, like, these random burner accounts online, national speculation from media guys, like, I don't really take any of that stuff seriously, because until I hear it from Bill Self in an official statement, like, I'm not going to believe it, And like, he has a competitive fire within him. With the way the last few years have gone, I'm sure he wants a deep run. Like, maybe we have this conversation, like, they go on an Elite 8 or Final 4 run and they lose. And maybe things have shifted at that point, right? Where it's like, okay, well, I've made a deep run. We have a pretty good recruiting class coming in. I'll help them with a coaching search. And maybe this is the last year because, more stuff has happened behind the scenes health-wise, or maybe I'm not feeling great or whatever. But I'd be very surprised if, they exit early and Bill's like, I don't want to come back. I'm out.
What will it take for Kansas to beat Houston again tonight in the semis?
Well, they're going to have to play incredible defense. I think that's the biggest thing. They're going to have to keep Houston off the boards. I think Flory's going to have a really good game, just like he did against TCU. I think he was a plus 31, which was nuts. He needs to stay out of foul trouble. You're hoping Darren is a little more efficient than he was against the Horned Frogs. On top of that, they're probably going to have to make, I'd say, at least 7 threes in the game to feel like they have a chance offensively. And, the one thing is, I think Kansas always playing at home. Obviously, they're not home, in T-Mobile, but it feels like second home. They have an opportunity to win a lot of games they have no business winning because of that home crowd in Allen Fieldhouse. And I think some of that carries over to T-Mobile. So, whatever the perceived gap is, I don't know what the line is for this game, but I presume it's Houston by 5 or 6 or whatever. I think it's more Houston should be 2 or 3 point favorites just because KU fans travel so well. And, we've seen them look like not a great team in the game before and then come out looking like world beaters the next game.
Yeah, good stuff. Shreas Lada covers KU for the Kansas City Star. Thanks, Shreas. We'll see you up here in a bit.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
Shreas Lada covers Kansas basketball for the KC Star. Joining us here on Big 12 today on Big 12 Radio, powered by Modelo. You're watching us on Big 12 Studios. We'll wrap up the show coming up next here exclusively on TuneIn and on your home for the Big 12 Studios.
Badunga punch set to jump it up. Kip Kissinger tosses it in the air, and Trey White controls.
One of the things I like about this start is what is Peterson at? Maybe one shot?
And finally, it's Edmonds.
Fran McCaffrey last couple of years.
Council lob and a throwdown for Tiller.
These are shots the last couple I don't like if I'm Bill Self.
Levicius, and TCU has the lead.
Remember, this guy lit it up in Allen Fieldhouse.
23-16. Elmarco Jackson gives to Council with Edmonds popping out. Council into the paint. And there's Bedunga with the tip. Off the mark. Here's Council. Council racing up ahead. White scored and one. Trey White to the line. Back the other way. Kansas the lead. Peterson. His jumper. And that wouldn't go for Pierre. He wanted a foul call. Peterson at the basket. And one. The rebound.
Here comes Melvin.
Council to White. And Kansas has the lead.
Diego, when they beat Florida and Wisconsin.
Peterson went behind the back. And is that going to count? Yep. Elmarco Jackson with a big game off the bench as he finishes with 13. Bedunga tips it. That one fired at the basket. It rims out, and Kansas will move on.
It's not enough.
One final time here on Big 12 today on Big 12 Radio, powered by Modelo. Heard exclusively on TuneIn, watched on Big 12 Studios.
Mustard!
He's Ari Timken. I'm James Westling. I love when you do that.
Thank you. Remember we were at Globe Life for the Big 12 baseball tournament? I screamed that when it was playing, and all the players on the field that were warming up looked up at me.
And we were 3 levels up. We were in the nosebleeds. You could hear him miles away.
Have you seen my hat? Have you noticed my hat?
Are you wearing a hat?
Yeah.
Are you wearing a hat right now?
Yes.
Dude, it fits your head like a glove.
I mean, this is an amazing hat.
The most fitted hat I've ever seen in my life.
These are the official Women's Championship hats from the 2026 Big 12 Women's Basketball Championship last week. You see the West Virginia logo on the side.
Yeah, the logo on the side is a really nice touch.
I know. Agreed.
I would like to say.
So
that really ties it all together.
Really, honestly, want Kansas to win, not just for my own fandom, but so that on Monday we can rock men's championship hats that have the KU on the side.
Yeah, you just want that KU hat.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
Have you been to Q39?
Ever?
No, this trip?
No.
You haven't?
You haven't taken me there.
Bro, you got to DoorDash that.
DoorDash?
You can DoorDash Q39.
I'm not
It's a game changer.
Not a big DoorDasher.
Really? You want to be there for the ambiance, the experience? You want to wait 45 minutes for a table, even with a reservation?
You'd rather wait an hour and a half for greasy, soggy food? Is that your preference?
Post 9 p.m., 20-minute delivery, bam.
20 minutes. That's an exaggeration beyond exaggeration.
I heard you guys talking about it during the break, and I was just sitting here quietly thinking how I could not wait to humble brag that I've already had Q30.
No.
I've had it. I told you, I DoorDashed it last night. Ate it at like 10 p.m.
What was it, like $1 million to do that? That's
No,
a long
actually,
drive.
you'd be surprised.
Yeah, I would be.
It's not bad.
The thing I don't like about DoorDash is they just upcharge for everything. It's like, oh yeah, that
upcharge.
That full slab of ribs, it's $20 if you get it there, but it's $35 you order it through us.
All right, you want to take a stab at the lines for today's Big 12 games? I keep saying today. They're not till tonight. They're at 7 Eastern, 6 Central for Game 1, and then we got the late game, which will start probably around 9 p.m. Central Time.
How dare you?
Central, 9 p.m.
Make that mistake.
All right, you want to take a stab at the lines? I've got the lines. No peeking.
Okay, so I shouldn't Google it then.
No, don't do it.
Okay.
Just take a stab.
Because
I thought Shreas is like, yeah, Houston will probably be favored by 5 or 6 points. I thought this is basically a home game.
It's a neutral site game.
Right?
It's neutral site.
All right, what do you think the lines are?
I'll say Arizona -7.
Okay.
Kansas -2.
Man, you are way off. Terrible picks on both. Arizona's favored by 4.5 over Iowa State. KU is a 5.5-point underdog against Houston.
Well, and Kansas was a 4.5 to 5.5 point favorite last night, and they got the win by 6, but it was very close at the end there because TCU hit a few threes that got them within the range, and then Kansas finished it off with some free throws. So, I mean, why you made me look bad by making me have to pick these games. They're betting lines.
Who do you like tonight? Iowa State and Arizona, Kansas and Houston.
I think despite the obvious home crowd piece to Iowa State, I think Arizona, they're so dialed in. They're such a dominant force right now in college basketball. We talked about that plus 35 net rating number, and they're well above that. So I like Arizona, and I like Kansas. I like Kansas to beat Houston. It would be the second time that Kansas has beaten Houston, but this is not the same Houston team we're used to. I would say Houston probably has a little bit more upside than Kansas does on the offensive end. Kansas maybe a little bit better defensively, which is kind of surprising considering Houston's normally the great defensive team. But yeah, I will take the blue blood matchup in the Big 12 championship final on Saturday night. Kansas and Arizona.
Kansas, Arizona for you. This is good because tomorrow we've got our hour-long pregame special at 2:30 Central Time. 2:30 or 3:30?
3:30.
What time zones? They mess with me. We're starting at 3:30?
3:30 Central to we're going up to 5.
It's 2:30 Mountain is what you must have been thinking.
Yes, I'm in BYU time. DeBonsa. It's DeBonsa hour. All right, we're going 3:30 to 4:30
Yes.
tomorrow.
So
Central
we will have a Saturday show for everybody. Not just for some, but for everybody. Previewing Arizona and Kansas. It feels like you disagree with that.
No, that sounds great.
No.
Yeah, no. Kansas, Arizona. No, I'll be here. No, that sounds fine. It's Pi Day. I normally take Pi Day off, but I guess I'll be here. It's fine. 3:30 to 4:30.
3.14159264.
Yeah, that.
How many digits do you know, bro? Do you even Pi?
Dude, I Pi. It's Pi Day. I only Pi on Pi Day. I like the exact opposite. I'm going Iowa State and Houston. Because I just think, great teams can beat good teams, or elite teams can beat great teams twice in the same year. But Iowa State had their worst game of the year in Tucson. They shot 29% from the floor. And I do think the crowd is a little bit of a thing, but I was just really impressed by the way Iowa State played. They looked like a team that I think the lift that they get now from Plata off the bench, his physicality, I think could be a problem for Mo Krivas. And a loss to Iowa State in this tournament is not a bad loss. By the way, Arizona's lost 2 games, right? All year long. Arizona has not been this deep into a season with only 2 losses since 1988.
Wow.
And they've had some really good teams over the years.
Well, this may be the best Arizona team of all time. Obviously there's a lot more games to play, but just in terms of their overall depth, if you listen to our conversation with Koa Pete, they have so much depth. Whether it's the interior with Krivas and Pete, whether it's their guard play with Bradley and Burries, they guys that play off the ball, it's impressive. They keep coming at you, and they wear teams down. They're more like a football team, where it's like they'll run for 2 yards in the first half, or run for 4 yards in the first half, and but by the time, those body blows wear you down to the point. I always thought it was funny when announcers were like, "He's getting stronger as the game goes on." No, he's not getting stronger. It's the opposition that's getting weaker, and it feels like that's how Arizona plays. They just grind you down, and they just have enough depth to overcome that. That's why I think they beat Iowa State. I'm more confident that Arizona beats Iowa State than I am that Kansas beats Houston. I think that game's way more of a toss-up.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like Houston. Houston, though, they are 0-5 against the top 5 toughest teams on their schedule. They're 0-5 this year. They really, with everything they've done, and they've got some really quality wins, they are missing. Maybe it's 0-3. They 0-5? What's their record?
They do have 5 losses.
Yeah.
So
all 5 losses were to the 5 toughest teams on their schedule.
Well,
at that time.
They beat Tennessee. They lost to Tennessee. They beat 14th ranked Arkansas. They beat 14th ranked Texas Tech. They lost to 12th ranked Texas Tech. Yeah, they lost to. You could make that case. I could see that. Yeah. They lost to Iowa State, Arizona, Kansas, and Texas Tech, and Tennessee.
But they do have some quality wins, right? Yeah. But also, I guess
New Orleans.
What I'm saying is, and that's quality of all quality.
Big win.
Beat NOLA. I'm saying they're due, and I think that as they have, after that 3-game slide, everybody just wrote them off, which I believe was a massive mistake. But Houston and Iowa State are 2 teams that are fighting for seeding in the NCAA tournament, as is Kansas. Joseph Duarte, our good buddy Joe, who we just talked to, was it yesterday that we had him on the show?
Yeah.
Said that Joe Lenardi on SportsCenter last night said that Houston's basically locked into that South region. He believes they're going to get that South region as a 2 seed and be playing in their backyard.
You're just a hater.
Kansas hater?
Yeah, that's it. That's what it comes down to.
What about Kansas, Iowa State?
Yeah.
That's one scenario we haven't thrown out there.
That would be a
home game for both.
It'd be a high-priced ticket.
Boy, would it. Would it ever.
It would.
That hat is so distracting.
Thank you.
I keep looking at the hat like a Bahamian tour guide over here. I'm ready. I'm ready. So ready. Like you're dialed in. You're dialed in. Cannot wait for today. It's going to be good. What are you looking at?
No, just more court talk.
You tired of the court talk?
No. Bring it on.
Bring on
Let's
the court
talk court. I can't wait to go out there and see the kind of progress they've made on this court.
As soon as we're done here, in about 90 seconds, we are walking straight to the floor.
I've really never been more compelled to watch a group of people work than I am to watch them lay down this floor.
It truly is a fascinating adventure to go on. When you walk through that tunnel and you see them hammer in nails, old school, piecing together a floor, which, by the way, it's going to look the exact same as it did last year.
Yes.
It is literally the exact same floor.
I hope nobody slips tonight.
Me and you both.
Yeah, no, it's going to be electric inside T-Mobile Center. I mean, Iowa State's fan base travels a ton. Obviously, Kansas's fan base will be here in droves. It's going to be a great atmosphere for college basketball. And as much as we say, like, well, these conference tournament games don't matter, tell the fans at the games tonight that these conference games don't matter. And to your point, like, maybe Houston and Arizona are already locked in. Arizona's probably the West and the one in the West, I'd say.
I think they're the West and the one.
I think they're the West and the one. And Houston's probably the 2 in the South. I think based on resumes, Iowa State should probably also be a 2, 3 a worst, and Kansas should be a 3. The fact that they're on the 4 line is a joke to me.
I'm a huge fan of us having our laptops side by side because I can just look over at what you're doing at any time. It's almost like cheating on a test. Like, what's he got going on?
Oh yeah, what are you looking at now?
Little court stuff I see.
Yeah, you know I don't like that. You know I don't.
I know you don't like it.
Yeah,
you don't like it. All right, that's gonna do it for us. We are back
you're like
tomorrow.
my teacher. Like, oh, what? You passing notes in class again, Temkin?
Reading all your texts. Got some group chats going on. You're very social, I will say. All right.
You didn't see all the S I was talking about you, right?
Just a little bit.
Just the goofy face.
Just like a little bit. Just a little bit of it.
Suntan. Sun-kissed.
Very hot. Very hot. I'm boiling up. It's just straight inferno in here. All right, coming up tomorrow, 3:30 to 4:30 Central Time. It will be our Big 12 Championship preview show for Tamin Turner, for Adam. We've got Anthony behind the scenes for our Big 12. Casey's in the house for our Big 12 studio friends. He is Ari Timken. I'm James Westling. We'll talk to you tomorrow to preview the Big 12 Championship game. You've been listening to Big 12 today on Big 12 Radio, powered by Modelo, and watching us on Big 12 Studios. But for now, we're out of here.
Peace.